After 8 events east of the Mississippi, the road to Indy presented by Cooper Tires now heads west. The Pacific Northwest, that is, to Portland International Raceway for the season finale of the 2022 schedule. Triple headers for USF2000 and Indy Pro. It is race day here at PIR. My name's Rob Howden, joined today by Steve Wittick from TSOladder.com and Trackside Online. Steve, a great place to have our event, the finale here right now. Championships up for grabs in both USF2000 and Indy Pro. But this is a racetrack with the really important opening corners, the complex they call Festival. This is going to be an interesting way to start this weekend and end this championship.
Yeah, it's a great place to end the championship, Rob. It's a track that you can pass on in the junior formula cars. It's kind of that old school American road course where mistakes matter. And with a tight championship in USF2000, I think the mistakes are limiting the mistakes is going to be what it takes to win that championship.
And that's really true. 3 drivers up for grabs, of course, in the championship. Miles Rowe comes in with a 23-point lead over Michael D'Orlando. He's had a great stretch run through to the end of the season. D'Orlando with a wreck in testing on Thursday. We'll see how that plays out when we go racing here later today. But Jace Denmark really got himself back in the championship with a win in Toronto. He's only 25 points back. So to be honest, all 3 races, the 2 today, are going to be very important.
Yeah, today's going to be very important today to kind of set that stage for the finale tomorrow. I don't expect anything to be completely determined today. I think we're going to have to go into Sunday's race to see exactly who ends up as the champion. Like you said, Jace Denmark's driving really well right now. Young driver that's starting to get confidence, kind of that, second, third year into the program, and He's dialed it in, and he's looking ready to contend for that championship.
And he has the momentum off that win in Toronto, so Jace Denmark could be the guy in the hunt here for sure. As Steve said, not sure if it's going to get done here today as part of the 2 races. It may end up being tomorrow on Saturday when we find out which driver is going to go away with that $400,000 scholarship to move next year into Indy Pro. In the Indy Pro 2000 category, a lot more certain right now. Louis Foster's been so great throughout the middle of the season, had a strong run at Worldwide Technology Raceway to pad that lead a little bit over Reese Gold and Nolan Siegel. All he needs to do really is start all 3 races to win this championship. But if he finishes 11th or better, or beats Siegel and Reese Gold tomorrow in the race here today, then that's going to be it. He's going to score this championship, $614,000 to go to Indy Lights next year.
Wow, that's a big chunk of change to help his program to go into Indy Lights, and he's a great story because he's a driver that came from Europe, did well in British F3 and Euro Formula, but it isn't just the traditional road courses where he's done well. You look at the last 3 events. We've Mid-Ohio, Toronto, Gateway, street course, road course, oval. He's been good at all of them, which is what it takes as you move up the ladder to Indy Lights and the NTT IndyCar Series.
Yeah, put that on the resume. If he indeed wins the championship here, which he will have won on all 3 disciplines of racetrack, as Steven said. He won at Indianapolis Raceway Park in the Freedom 90, wins, of course, on the natural terrain road courses, and the victories at Toronto means he can win on any circuit he possibly can win on. And he never won here coming in, never raced rather on a street circuit before he got here to the U.S. As Steven said, a number of different programs, only 1 year in every program for Louis Foster, coming up through the ranks, Janetta Jr., and of course into British F4, British F3, and then Euro Formula. This will be his first championship, though, as a junior Formula driver. Lots of guys behind him pushing hard, but for them, Exclusive Autosport got to be happy. This could be their first driver championship after winning the team championship last year.
Yeah, they've come close with a couple drivers, Parker Thompson, Braden Eves, Artem Petrov have done really well and won a lot of races, but this is kind of brings that Michael Duncap's program into that next level with the Juncos Hollinger guys and the Pabst Racing who've got championships. So it's a big step for that team.
Speaking of team championships, here at Indy Pro 2002 going at it, Juncos Hollinger Racing looking for another team title here, but coming on strong here with really the improvements of Salvador de Alba along with Braden Eves. Jay Howard Driver Development still up for grabs on trying to win that team championship. In the USF2000 category, Pabst Racing pretty much has things locked down. Miles Rowe and, of course, Jace Denmark. Both those drivers, tremendous seasons so far. Yeah. Looks like Augie Pabst will get another championship there.
Yeah, it looks like it for sure. And there's a good chance he's going to get his first driver's championship. We're losing a stalwart of USF2000 with Cape Motorsports making the jump up the ladder, but they've won, I can't remember how many,
8 or 9,
13, but 13 I think total USF2000 championships, and you know, they've still got a chance for this final one, but Augie and the gang at Paps is looking for their first.
It's going to be a fantastic day of racing. As I said, race day here at Portland International Raceway. 2 main events for both of the categories here today. Tomorrow we'll have one each to cap off the triple header. USF2000 drivers getting ready to roll on the grid right now. We'll head down there right now. I'll give you the full driver lineup before we go green flag for the first race of the triple header here in Portland. After this weekend in Toronto, we have just 6 weeks until we head to the Pacific Northwest and the Portland International Raceway for the triple header finale on Labor Day weekend. A championship dialing in for USF2000 Miles Rowe versus Michael D'Orlando. We had a chance to catch up with both drivers here in TO. Miles, of course, coming into your second year in the program, you're thinking championship. You're thinking about the scholarship. The championship battle has kind of formed throughout the year as we head to Portland. What are your thoughts on going in? Point lead, coming into Toronto. You're in a pretty good spot right now.
Yeah, we're definitely in a good spot. You know, it's good to be first going into the last 2 events. And it's, you know, same mindset as well. Just picking the right choices, really. You know, understanding what's a choice that could hurt your season, what's a choice that could help it. You really just want to be as clear-headed as possible so you could just, you know, do what we've been doing all year.
I don't feel like there's any pressure. I feel like this is my racing career. Obviously, I know I have a shot at winning the championship, and Miles is really good, but I'd have to work for it. And yeah, there's a little bit of a pressure, but I enjoy doing it.
It's cool because, you know, we used to race go-karts together, so it's nice to be here, you know, pursuing our IndyCar dreams and in a championship, you know, fight. The pressure is there, but I like to think it doesn't affect me, and I just, you know, try to keep my head as clear as possible and just focus forward.
Getting the championship would really be a career and confidence booster.
Last year, you know, it was tough, you know, starting out, new team, new driver, been out of the car for 4 to 5 years, but it was just a development year. I mean, I'm sure I could say, you know, I could do this last year, but, you know, last year already happened, and everything that happened was just a learning lesson to help me get to where I am right now.
Obviously, I take it one race at a time with the championship still in mind. There's been a couple of times this season that, like, you get a little bit too antsy and you try to get that extra spot, and it doesn't end up working out in your favor. But you always have to have that championship in the back of your mind. But that doesn't mean that you don't go for an opportunity that arises. You gotta make the most of every opportunity, every lap, every corner, and every race. So when we go into Portland with a triple header there, obviously I'm gonna be super focused on the Portland and just to get through the weekend with as many points as possible, the best position that I could possibly get out of without making too many risky maneuvers. At the way it seems right now, hopefully I can have the lead.
Well, we're always looking forward to these races on the road to Indy, these championship battles, is going down to the final race. That third race at Portland, we could have ourselves a fight to see who wins the scholarship this year in USF2000 and see which driver takes that money to Indy Pro 2000 in 2023.
It's your Uncle Cooper. Sure, once in a blue moon, you might need your tires for hauling a horse in a hailstorm. But most days, you're gonna need your tires for tougher things, like teaching your sister's kid how to parallel park. Thankfully, these Cooper and Duramaxes aren't just tough, they're everyday tough. Okay, there's a lot of improvement. Go with the Coopers. Cooper.
Karting and motorsport enthusiasts, Lucas Oil School of Racing is America's #1 Formula Car race school. Enjoy modern paddle shifters, pit speed limiter, and onboard video along with integrated data systems. Get started today with our 2-day basic or advanced course. Lucas Oil School of Racing is the official school of the road to Indy. We can also qualify you for your SCCA license. Get started today by visiting us at www.lucasraceschool.com.
It's your Uncle Cooper. Your SUV is a multi-purpose tool, like a corkscrew fish scaler. And that means your tires should be multi-purpose too. Like these Cooper rugged Treks. They're tough, but also run smooth as butter. And with dual sidewalls, It's like having a multi-tool that can look like a completely different multi-tool. Don't take that idea, by the way. I'm gonna patent it. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
With over 40 years in business, High Tide Boat Lifts is committed to elevating your craft. Whether you own a personal watercraft or a large yacht, we can design and create the perfect lift for your needs. At High Tide Boat Lifts, we understand that you've worked hard to get to a successful place in life. We'll ensure you have a hassle-free experience, maximizing the time you spend on your boat with family and friends, and supporting your dreams out on the open water.
It's your Uncle Cooper. Sure, once in a blue moon, you might need your tires for hauling a horse in a hailstorm. But most days, you're gonna need your tires for tougher things, like teaching your sister's kid how to parallel park. Thankfully, these Cooper Enduramaxes aren't just tough, they're everyday tough. Okay, there's a lot of improvement. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
Karting and motorsport enthusiasts, Lucas Oil School of Racing is America's #1 Formula Car race school. Enjoy modern paddle shifters, pit speed limiter, and onboard video along with integrated data systems. Get started today with our 2-day basic.
For those of you who come in here on a Friday morning, we're going to get things right underway with the Road to Indy presented by Cooper Tires. 3 races on the docket for both the Cooper Tires USF2000 Championship and the Indy Pro 2000 Championship. So we're going to get things underway right now. The drivers have rolled out here onto the racetrack for USF2000 to kick off the RTI component of this weekend's event. Again, 19 drivers set to go, and this one will add another driver for race number 2. But again, a great field of racers set to go. We will give you the driver lineup once we have the command to fire the engines, and again, a main event to cap off this year's season in the Road to Indy presented by Cooper Tires. A triple header here this weekend for all the series, USF 2000 and Indy Pro 2000, and we're excited to get things underway. So you'll see all the cars on the racetrack, all on Cooper Tires, all with a Tatis chassis, and behind each and every one of these drivers, an engine with 170 horsepower built by the good folks at Elite Engines in Wisconsin. And joining me down here on pit lane right now to give the command to fire engines, the data analyst for Elite Engines, Michael Knapp.
On behalf of Cooper Tires, and drivers, start your Elite engines.
And there you go, engines coming to life on pit lane. Time to go racing for the first of 3 events for Cooper Tires, USF 2000. Bobby Corser, I'll be back in the booth momentarily.
Thank you, my friend. We appreciate it. All right, engines have fired, as you guys see right there on the track. We are looking at 25 laps, about 35-minute lap time. We have on pole, earlier for today, Jace Denmark will lead the field to green. Joining him and Nikita Johnson are your 2 cars that will be on row number 1. We are excited. This is the first of 9 races over the next 3 days. It is the Grand Prix of Portland. It cannot ask for better conditions out there. The sun is out. Temperature's starting to warm up just a little bit. What a beautiful day. Cars are on track. Phil, it's the first race of 9. Here we go.
We're just getting started, buddy. Although we've been going since, what, about 7 this morning. You maybe 8, 9 o'clock. But, buddy, what a weekend. We still got 2 more days after this. Like you said, lots of tickets still available. Can't make it today, make it tomorrow. If not, plan to be here Sunday. We're just getting started. We can't wait. The voice just walked in the door.
He is the man. He is a myth and a legend.
Wow.
You like that?
Yeah, I can live with that. That works for me. No, this is great, guys. Great to be here. And, again, great to get things underway. No wasting time here on a Friday, a fun Friday, as Bobby said. We're going to go racing here with the Cooper Tires USF2000 Championship. Chase Denmark starting on the pole position for Pabst Racing. Bonus point brings him within 1 more marker closer to his teammate Miles Rowe. Started on the outside of row number 2. Denmark 24 points back in the championship. Rowe with a chance to clinch it, but we'll see what happens. Denmark and Nikita Johnson, just 14 years of age, starting on the outside of the front row. Canadian Thomas Naveau. The D-Force Racing number 10, starting in 3rd alongside your point leader Miles Rowe. Row 3 will have Nicky Hayes from Cape Motorsports, an impressive driver making his debut here this weekend in USF 2000. The USF Juniors point leader Matt Clark out of Campbellville, Ontario, Canada, starting 6th outside of row number 3. Jacob Douglas, great starting spot for the Kiwi for Exclusive Autosport. He'll start 7th alongside the other championship contender Michael D'Orlando out of Hartsfield, New York. In the white number 4, row number 5, so coming off your top 10, Dylan Christie, the number 11 for D-Force Racing, and Billy Fraser, the other driver out of Exclusive Autosport, the Kiwi, and the number 92 Corpay machine. Row number 6, we'll see Christian Weir alongside Nicholas D'Orlando, Jagger Jones, and Jorge Garcias on row 7, Spike Kolbecker and Danny Dazelski on row 8, Ivagoras Papasavas and Luke Mann, row 9, Ethan Ho on row number 10. Field is lined up, folks. We're going to go racing here as they come down the front straightaway. Time to go to the Festival Chicane for the first time. Hold your breath as we're getting ready to fire things up, and this race is green, green, green. Powering down into turn number 1. Can they get through cleanly? A couple drivers together further back, not able to get through. Other drivers coming through the shortcut there on the right side of the screen. They'll work their way through. One driver coming back around. You got to figure somebody potentially got contact, trying to work their way through the corner here right now. One driver still there. That's going to be the 92, I believe, of Billy Fraser. Oh, tough one for Fraser. Oh, that's the 93, actually, that's involved there. That's Nicholas D'Orlando. So I thought it was Fraser. It's actually the 93 of Nicholas D'Orlando, potentially around over in turn number 1. So at the back of the pack, struggling to get through there, made some contact. Otherwise, everybody else slotting into position. We are green racing right now. Whether we go full course yellow, not yet determined. But they are racing hard for position. Once we do go full course, we lock down the grid. So they'll race as hard as they can in the opening circuit to see if they can't get themselves forward. The opening laps, close together, the best opportunity to pass. And indeed, full course yellow for the incident in turn number 1, as I expected. Always a chance for some chaos coming into that very tight right-hander that leads through 1, 2, and 3. But again, there you go, folks. Chase Denmark able to get the lead, but the pace car coming out. Bobby, an issue early on, contact over in turn number 1.
20 cars trying to funnel down into a very small, tight right-hand turn. And as we saw, we have at least 1 car collected, and the damage that we did see on the initial video looks bad, so he's not going to be able to continue in. So
yeah, you know, when you're coming into a corner like that and someone stopped in front of you, all it takes is drivers going left and right. You can end up, damaging some of the suspension. It doesn't take that much. But I believe we'll see Nicholas D'Orlando climbing out of this one. The AMR Indycar safety crew has already got themselves onto the scene. They'll get that car moved quickly, and ideally we'll be able to go back to green flag running. Let's have a quick look at the update, because a couple drivers able to leverage this. Chase Denmark with the lead. Thomas Naveau up into 2nd. Nicky Hayes 3rd. Miles Rowe in 4th. Michael D'Orlando goes up to Jacob Douglas up to 5th. Michael D'Orlando 6th. Johnson 7th, Clark back to 8th, Ethan Ho from the tail of the field up to 9th. You got to wonder whether or not he was able to climb through, or he may have taken the escape road and came across. Danny Dazelski up into the 10th position, and Jagger Jones moving up as well. Billy Fraser started 10th, he falls back to 13th, so a lot of shuffling in the order on that opening circuit.
Nikita Johnson drops 5 spots, starting on the outside of row number 1, goes into 7th right now, so you got to see what happened there. But again, stuff could happen. Could have been a little bit late on the start. Could have been, cars going around it, didn't want to risk an incident. So field shakes out a little bit. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get a chance to see a replay here to see what happened. Here it is here coming down in. You can see that down to the bottom of the racetrack. There's the contact further back, sending guys moving. coming down to the corner. Jace Denmark on the inside. There's on the outside. Closer on the inside, actually, of turn number 2 is Nikita Johnson. He gets pinched down. Denmark comes down on Johnson. He has to climb the curb on the inside. That's going to allow Matt Clark or Thomas DeVoe in the blue and white car to go through. You can see coming through the back here are one of the turn 3 cars, as well as the 92 of Billy Fraser. He had to take evasive maneuvers as well. You have to stop and come back through there again. That's the thing about this corner. If you don't make it through on the racetrack, you're going to wind your way through the obstacles to stop you from being able to cut that corner.
Yeah, and they do that strictly for somebody does not get an advantage. We see damage now. Oh.
So this is the way these cars are designed. Those of you who may not follow the road to Indy that much or any kind of open wheel formula car racing, this is designed to do this. They'll literally be able to bring this car back, unbolt all those parts, and bolt a new front end. Now that's a pretty expensive corner of a race car, to be honest, but that is something that they'll be able to get fixed. Looks like potentially just the right front, so minimal damage. And remember, we're coming back and racing this afternoon again, so the exclusive Autosport crew has some work to do on the number 93 of Nicholas D. Orlando.
Right, it looks like, thankfully, it's just suspension. Wing looks okay, rest of the body looks okay. We saw that especially last Friday. IndyCar was in town testing, and Romain Grosjean, lots of off-course excursions, ended up having an issue where he broke the front suspension, and you watch the mechanics. Couple bolts, pulls it off, new set comes right back on, and like you never knew anything happened.
Yeah,
so.
and the idea is to have that crush zone as well, right?
Absolutely.
When you have the contact, you don't want it to get into the carbon fiber tub. There are going to be zones where it will take and absorb that impact and snap off at a certain area. So again, and surprising, I will say this, and you mentioned it, the front wing's actually not damaged. Normally when you have right front or left front damage, it's going to hit the wing as well. So obviously, I'm going to say very likely kind of wheel-to-wheel contact potentially there where he climbed up over top. We saw a lot of action there on the opening run down into turn number 1. And I think worth mentioning as well, Bobby, we talked about this in qualifying. None of the drivers here in USF2000 have ever raced here in Portland before. It was back in 2019 was the last time we were here. So they've never had a chance to go through this corner. And I mentioned it earlier. I said this is probably the most precarious turn 1, 2, 3 complex in all of American motorsports, at least for us for sure. Let's have another look at this. We're going to get the inside camera here, potentially coming into one. So here's the action. People throwing it in there deep. We'll look a little further back from the contact. Is right there. Someone locking up. And somebody got into the back. One of the J. Howard driver development cars getting into the back of Nicholas D. Orlando. I want to say potentially Jorge Garcias in the number 9 getting into the back. So Nicholas D. Orlando, his brother, of course, trying to run for the championship here. No fault of his own coming into the braking zone. You see a bunch of drivers locking it up, and someone just went a little too deep into that braking zone, got into the gearbox, and around you go. Really, at that point, you're along for the ride.
Exactly. Car went sideways, and that would explain why we just had the limited damage just to the front suspension. So looks like we probably will have one more to go this time around. I believe the lights are off on the pace car, so that would be one to go. You mentioned they have not had any experience here. Welcome. You've just passed Masterclass PIR 101.
Your first experience with turn number 1. Try to give each other room. And listen, this is something you try to teach these young drivers that are further back in the pack. If you're starting on row 6, 7, 8, and 9, check up a little early.
Oh yeah.
There's no need to go there's no need to charge into that corner knowing that everybody's going to start locking it up. There could potentially be an issue. And Garcias gets pushed down to 17th. Christie down into 18th. The Orlando out, as we know. Papa Savas down a couple of spots as well. So it didn't play well for anybody involved in that incident. In a corner like this, first race of the weekend, knowing there's another race coming up in short order, don't make a mistake and wreck the car and not be able to go to race number 2.
Exactly. And again, what we have seen is if you hold up just a little bit, chances are there's an incident in front of you, your reaction time will be that much greater. Hopefully you get through without any damage. We talked to Will Power about that earlier this week. He's like, listen, if you're in the front 3 rows, you have to make a move. You have to charge. After that, anything could happen.
After that, the problem with it is the racers will tell you, the opening lap, the opening couple of corners, that's the best time to make a move, right?
Absolutely.
You can get so much. Everybody's close together. People get boxed up. You can make that big move. But I also say this: you can lose the race in the opening corner. You can never win it. You can try as hard as you can, but you can never win the race in that opening corner.
We saw it last year, Bobby. Almost every race, every series, into that corner. We expected it, and no surprise.
Single file restart. We're back to racing right now with what will be A 25-lap race for drivers here in USF2000. Big run down the straightaway again. We'll see what happens this time through and get a good opportunity to attack. You see a number of drivers going to the bottom of the racetrack, really working the curbing on the inside of turn number 1. A couple of lockups further back, everybody pushing the braking zone as much as they can, but finally settling in. Once we get through the opening corner, it will start getting to single file. Then the drivers can go to work on each other. And indeed, cleanly now through 1, 2, and 3, through the big sweeping turn number 4. Drivers now finally getting things underway. And I'll tell you, for Jace Denmark, this is an opportunity for him to slowly claw his way back into the championship contention. He's still one of the 3 drivers with a mathematical opportunity, but it's Miles Rowe in the 22 who is out front by 24 points over both D'Orlando and Denmark. So he's going to try to do what he can to get that top 5, but Denmark, man, with an opportunity to chip it away. You think about it, you're 24 points back, 8 points or 9 points per race. If you can gain it back, you end up being the champion at the end of the day.
That would be fantastic for him. And again, just got to now bring the car home. He's done what he needs to. He started on pole, got the point. Now let's go forward. Let's win this race.
And let's bring this up, too. He's coming off a victory at Toronto, so he was able to do that. He was able to go out front, lead a race, which is something that it's what the Road to Indy is about. Not only do you want them to learn how to drive, lead the race, lose the lead, take it back. Same with the championship. Learn to be in a championship fight. That's one of the things I always stress to a lot of the parents is, you don't want to push your driver forward too quickly. If they haven't had a chance to learn how to win yet, that's something that they need to learn. They're not going to learn it when they go up one more level against even better drivers in faster cars. On the way up the ranks, try to be able to have every opportunity to learn how to win and learn how to vie for a championship.
Enjoy the experience.
That's it, man. It's a developmental ladder. We talk a lot about that, but sometimes I think not so much we forget, but a lot of the times the competitors and the families forget. They're going to make mistakes. They're developing. This is what we're to do here, to try to get these drivers prepared for the NTT IndyCar Series. And again, as you guys said, Jace Denmark comfortably out to the lead, but Thomas Naveau pushing hard. There's a side-by-side run down the back straightaway as well into the 10, 11, 12 combination. A couple of big moves further back, a couple of the Cape drivers moving forward. That might have been Michael D'Orlando, I think, potentially getting by Jacob Douglas. Douglas currently running in 6th. Last time it could have been, then D'Orlando up to P5, I believe now. He's going to try to chase down Rowe. So again, Michael D'Orlando's got to make hay right now because he cannot finish behind Miles Rowe and expect to try to vie for the championship before it's all said and done. He did not qualify particularly well. Had an issue yesterday in the middle session. Missed the official practice session at the end of yesterday. So track time, of course, a premium here, Bobby. When you've never been here before. He got the first session in, wrecked the second session, missed the third. So a little behind the 8 ball for Michael D'Orlando. So he'll be learning as he goes right now as he's now worked his way up to P5.
The seat time is so important, as we've talked about. You got to know how the track functions, and there are so many little oddities when you drive at Portland International Raceway. Not only is it turns 1, 2, and 3, or 10, 11, 12, going through 4, 5, and 6, it's sweeping. You can pass. It's incredibly difficult. But if you have a fast car, you can do it.
And the drivers will tell you when they're in that 4, 5, 6 combination, when they're trying to come through, you've got to kind of go off on. You got to push a driver hard so he'll make that mistake. You miss a turn in coming through 5, and all of a sudden the car pushes out a bit. It's a big wide entry to the inside. You mentioned that. Now you're going to give up a little bit on the exit, but if you can get that pass done, you can still get it done there as well. Turn 1, obviously the crucial pass. Here we have a move further back. They are making a move by. Look at these guys left and right. That's Rowe trying to find a way by. Nicky Hayes is doing a great job. They're side by side coming through turn number 1, 2, and 3. I think they may have been able to get through. We didn't see the exit. We saw the apex curbing there, but not sure whether or not he is through. Rowe is through to P3. Oh, driver going to go off the racetrack. That is, I think, Nicky Hayes potentially off the track on the outside of turn number 4. Hard coming through 1, 2, and 3. And he has gone off the racetrack as he had lost that spot to Miles Rowe. So move Rowe up to P3. And when you think about he's battling Denmark, his teammate, those are points he needed to get back. So he's not going to lose too much here if Denmark's able to walk away to the win.
But that was still crucial. We talked about, again, entry and exit points, right? Battling with a guy, got too far outside, and at that point, you run out of real estate into the grass.
You also run out of grip, right? There's not a lot of grip out there. Welcome to the marbles on the outside of the racetrack. A lot dirtier when you're not there. And again, we'll see things change once IndyCar gets onto the racetrack. They're going to lay a lot of rubber down that will present more grip for the drivers in the second half of the day. Again, 2 races for USF2000, 2 for Indy Pro here this weekend, or this day here in Portland. We'll wrap up the season with single races tomorrow. But Miles Rowe putting the hammer down, as is Michael D'Orlando. He's coming up, and so is Nikita Johnson. No, D'Orlando's falling back. That was D'Orlando, not Hayes, who went off the racetrack. Championship implications, and there's contact further back as well. Another driver, two drivers getting together, overzealous coming into turn number 1. Those drivers trying to get back around. Hopefully we can get a replay of what happened there. That was further back in the pack. Might have been Kohlbecker and Papasavas. A couple drivers together, 3 in total together further back. Jagger Jones might have been involved there as well. But Michael D'Orlando in the number 4, the driver who went off at turn number 4. Guys, he came in 24 points back. You can't give up points in the opening circuit. He's not going to be totally out of it, but he has hurt himself big time with points.
Bobby, we've talked about it, and Rob, of all the tracks, this is more than likely got to be one of the roughest, toughest tracks for them to run on. Of the series they run?
I think it's very tight. That's one of the biggest things, right? You really have to force an issue to try to get a pass done, whereas a Road America, you have these long straightaways where you can do the draft and the outbraking. Mid-Ohio's like that as well, where there's not a lot of places to pass. That's one of the things here. You've got to really work the guy in front of you if you're trying to make a move. And indeed, folks, being told we are, again, full course yellow. So we have gone yellow on the racetrack. Not exactly sure yet what the reason is, but another full course yellow on the racetrack here right now. And it's one of the drivers that was involved in that opening incident is stuck on the right side or left side of the racetrack here. And let's have a look here at that replay. Here they come down into the corner. I saw it from the other shot that we had. There's going to be contact further back as you come in. You'll see a driver. Someone's going to go way deep into the corner and get into the gearbox of the driver in front of him. That's the contact that loops the first car. Everybody else having to take evasive maneuvers. Here it is here. Someone thinking about down the inside where there's less grip. They'll come into the corner. Coming across the curve there. No contact there. Here's the contact here. Mid-corner correction. I believe that was somebody getting into the back of Spike Kohlbecker. Again, I'm not quite sure which driver got into the back of Kohlbecker. I think Christian Weir might have been caught up in that as well. The potential driver who went to the back is Jagger Jones. Here's the shot that we had seen before. Yeah, there's move. Kohlbecker already turning into the corner. He gets taken out from the back, and around he goes. So a number of drivers involved in the incident down there. It's actually Jagger Jones and the Cape Motorsports number 3 that is stalled in turn number 2. So again, one of the things I'll bring up, this is interesting when you consider. Let's watch the replay again. Didn't realize we were getting another shot. Everybody rolling through here. You'll see the contact coming further back. These guys coming through here nicely. You see them down to the apex of turn 1, right up to the apex of 2, letting the car drift all the way out to be able to circle around 3. A little bit more of a early entry to turn number 3 to work their way to 4. You can see the contact further back. Driver goes around, and there's more contact. That was Christian. So I think it looks to me like Jones got into the back of Christian Weir at the same time as we had one of the J. Howard driver development cars getting into the back of Spike Kohlbecker. Weir and Kohlbecker both turn 3 motorsports. Not a good start to the day for them as both those drivers getting looped around. They'll fall to the tail of the field. Weir now 15th, Kohlbecker in 16th. Another shot of it here. Let's take a look this time at the first incident further up the road. See, there's the wreck there. And then there is Jagger Jones up on the curbing. He gets down to the inside of Weir up over the curb, and that was right front to left rear contact.
And gets elevated too on the wheel.
Yeah, they were connected together the entire time as they were doing that half spin.
Is that a result of just guys checking up a little bit, or is it what causes that?
Well, I think in the one further back looked to be like the J. Howard car probably just powered in too hard, tried to carry a lot of speed in. You don't know whether or not Kohlbecker checked up a little bit. He may have saw the incident happening out in front of him with Jones and Weir. That potentially saw that, check up a little bit so I can get through. That definitely could have been a chain reaction. But it looked to be like Jones probably powered down the inside, trying to see if he couldn't carry some more speed. And when you get into the back of somebody, it's usually the guy's fault in the back unless you're coming back across the racetrack. So hard for me to obviously call here from the limited vantage points we have. We don't have in-car cameras. That's what the race directors will look at as well to be able to come up with their final decision. But the bottom line is that was an issue for a couple of drivers outside the top 10. And again, this is where I was going before we saw the restart again. Everybody comes into the finale weekend with a different mindset.
Sure.
There are 3 guys up front looking for a championship. There are guys 4th on back, maybe haven't got a race win yet. That's what's in their mind. I got to win a race. Like Thomas Deveau right now, he won last year at Road America, but hasn't been able to stand on top of the podium yet this year. He wants to win a race. He wants to put his head down, so he's going to try to get Denmark here. He's got a different mindset than Denmark, who's thinking about the championship. But guys outside the top 10 probably get a bit frustrated. Jagger Jones, of course, outside the top 10, trying to push hard. Everybody's got a different mindset coming into the race, and that's what kind of changes things and presents the opportunity for incidents when everybody's thinking a different way going into a corner.
Yeah, it makes total sense. Looks like we're going to have probably one more lap to go before we're back to green. Find out here as they come down the front stretch if the lights on the pace car go out. Possibly.
I would assume that they'll be able to get it cleaned up at that point. You never know what potentially went down onto the racetrack. So,
and 2 spots they do have to clean up. It wasn't just one incident location. So,
and anytime you get rear gearbox contact, you could potentially break the gearbox and drop some fluid on the track. I haven't seen anybody out there with any speedy dry to work on it yet. Yeah, you can see that they've just finally got the car off to the right side or the middle of the screen. They pull the car off and then put it behind the wall on the inside of turn number 1 and 2. So that looks clean. We'll go back to green, but we've had a bunch of yellows. 8 laps or 6 yellow flag laps so far. It'll be obviously 7 when we come back around. There'll be still 13 laps remaining, I believe, when we get rolling here. So not the start we wanted to USF2000, but like I said, a track they've never been to. They haven't, where's all the trouble been?
Right.
1, 2, and 3.
Yep. I mean, it is the story of Portland. I really, I need to talk to the guys at Green Savory next week and be like, hey, we need T-shirts next year that just says turns 1, 2, 3.
We wanted the trailer down there.
Yeah.
That's where we wanted to have our view. But we're just approaching halfway, and we've seen a lot of action already.
Yeah, not surprising, but I would assume now that it'll kind of settle in a little bit. That's normally what will happen. But as you guys know, cautions breed cautions, right?
Yes,
so we're going to get another restart, another run down into turn number 1, 2, and 3, the festival chicane. And as I've said before, Thomas Naveau wants a win, and D-Force Racing wants a win here. They won the championship last year with Kiko Porto, who now runs with them in Indy Pro 2000. And I guarantee you, this young Canadian, Thomas Naveau, he's been doing a lot of kart racing throughout the year as well. One of the top kart racers in North America, and keeps himself sharp on the off weekends, running top-level national karting events. This guy has great racecraft, and I guarantee you he will be trying to leverage this restart to potentially go to P1. But Denmark, as we said, will defend aggressively because this is an opportunity right now. He runs P1. His teammate Miles Rowe in the 3rd spot. I'll pull out my points charts here. We'll have a look what that will mean in the championship standings because there's an opportunity for him to close up. Denmark winning is 351 points. Rowe in 3rd, 368. He would cut it down to potentially 17 points. Add a bonus for most laps led. It could be a 16-point advantage. That's all it could be going into the next race. He's also got fast lap of the race, Denmark. That's another bonus point. We're going around another lap still. So there's an opportunity here potentially for Denmark to go to within 15 points with 2 more races to go.
We talk about a momentum swing, and that would be huge.
Yep. I will say this. We know that Naveau is going to get aggressive. No one's ever said that Miles Rowe is not aggressive.
Right.
He's a guy that has a full confidence in his abilities, in his race car. Pabst has given him a great car. He knows Denmark's out front. They've got the race car to do it. So I would think that not only will you see Thomas Naveau get aggressive in the number 10 to go for the P1, but I think Rowe might be right there with a dive bomb move to the bottom as well to see if he can't find his way to P2. Because he's trying to limit the damage, right? Even though it's his teammate, Jace Denmark, he needs this scholarship. Miles, of course, coming in last year with Force Indy and then moving over to Pabst Racing this year. He has been a revelation this year, winning a lot of races. But I'll tell you, he wants this championship. He wants to go to Indy Pro, make that step to the next level. He does have some backing and support from Roger Penske and the Penske Entertainment Group, which has been tremendous. He's, of course, trying to pay off that confidence from Roger to see if he can get a championship.
Hey, and if the captain is confident in you, you know that you're probably a really, really good driver.
I'll take that verification on my Twitter account for sure.
100%.
Right?
100%.
No doubt about it. Roger Penske, of course, been around a long time in this sport, one of the legends, and of course the owner of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway now and the NTT Indycar Series, and of course Penske Racing.
Lights are out on the pace.
Let's go back to racing.
Let's do it.
I've had enough driving around here at half speed. These cars like to be driven fast. They do not like to cruise around. They're not comfortable. These drivers want that air rolling through. Time to go back to racing. And look at this, Naveau right there with Denmark. A little further back is Rowe, but it's a long run down to the straightaway. Who gets the big draft? Will be Nikita Johnson or Jacob Douglas trying to make a move as well. Here they come down the straightaway. Into turn number 1 again. Green flag flying from Aaron Likens to start-finish. They'll go, how about 3 wide? Down into turn number 1. Big move down the bottom of the racetrack. Can they get through cleanly? And they do. And I want to say that Rowe, I think, able to go to P2. Let's have a look when they come out of 3 and 4. Great shot here coming through Denmark with a nice little advantage, and indeed Miles Rowe has gone to second. Naveau goes back to third spot. Nikita Johnson, just 14 years of age for VRD Racing. He now runs P4 ahead of Jacob Douglas, looking to match his best finish of the year in P5. Nicky Hayes runs 6th, Matt Clark 7th, Billy Fraser 8th, Danny Dzelski, the best we've seen him run all year. He's running 8th ahead of Ethan Ho, who started at the tail of the field. Ho and the VRD machine up into 10th. Fighting further back. See one of the drivers there, I believe that was Cole Becker and Weir going at it. That might be Dylan Christie in there as well. There's your leaders coming across. And in fact, there's a move there for Johnson. He has gone to third. Nikita Johnson, a race winner this year in USF Juniors, 4th in the points in that development series, has shown extremely well here in USF 2000. Could be a rookie who could go after a championship next year. We'll see him in full-time USF 2000 with VRD next year. Here comes the run back down to 1. Miles Rowe putting his head down. The Pabst Racing cars run 1-2 right now. And again, can Miles Rowe get by Jace Denmark? He is limited to the damage right now. He'll only get a couple of points on him. But even here, because I believe as we get past the halfway point, we haven't got past the halfway point, so that's a bonus point for most laps led for Denmark. The bonus point for the pole already. He still has the fast lap of the race, so that's 3 bonus points. He'll be 5 points ahead on the racetrack. 30 points for the win, 25 points for second. So it could be an 8-point swing, moving it down to, I believe, it would be 13 points going in to race number 2.
Starts to really tighten up.
Yeah, I like it.
Let's go back to the restart real quick. We saw some very aggressive moves to get up into those position spots. So again, guys are making moves because they know they want to win or they know they're battling for the championship. And honestly, you have to have that, because if you're not being aggressive now, when are you going to be aggressive?
That's it. Listen, this is the exact timing, right? You said that perfectly. Because, you want to have to pull a driver back. You don't want to have to push them forward, right? You don't want to have to try to make them aggressive. Roger Penske used to always say that about Paul Tracy. You never had to push Paul Tracy forward. You're always kind of trying to hold him back, right, to rein him in, because he was always being super aggressive. You want the drivers to have the aggression, but you want controlled aggression. You want them to know when to be aggressive and when to sit back. Right now, Miles Rowe, he could probably be content sitting in second place right now. Yeah, he's going to lose some markers to his teammate Jace Denmark, but better than going up there and potentially taking each other out, right? That's one thing. I guarantee you Augie Paps will be on the radio. Just tell these guys to remember what's going on. They did the same thing at Road America when they finished 1-2 like this. I think Rowe may have been able to make the move past to potentially take the spot, but they were like, guys, be smart. Don't wreck each other. A 1-2 finish is strong, and that has allowed Rowe, of course, to take this lead in. There's Billy Fraser having a great battle there right now, side by side. That's he and Danny Dzelski, I believe, potentially going at it. Coming down. Might even be Nicky Hayes, but we got some great racing just outside the top 5. 2 wide coming down the back straight. Look at them throwing these cars, and I talked about that. They just whip those cars into turn number 10, get it to come back around for 11, then through turn number 12, roll back on that throttle car and a little bit of drift. You've got that, that slide on the tire, getting the thing to roll its way out here. That slip angle as they come out of turn number 12, get back on power. It'll keep hooking up and eventually roll you all the way down into 1. That's when we see the moves down to the inside of that turn 1, 2, 3 complex. Look at this lineup of drivers here. That is probably third on back. Johnson, Naveau, actually Douglas, Clark, Fraser, Dzelski, Hayes, and Garcias, and then a half a second back to Michael D'Orlando.
Fantastic drive right there. These guys are going at it full speed. They are not holding anything back. Watch how they come into turns 1 and 2, right? You want to hit that apex. You want to make sure you maintain maximum amount of speed. These guys are just throwing it completely sideways.
Well, the key coming over the curbing of turn number 1 is, remember, you got to get back to the left.
You
can't have the car going in with a bunch of, let's say, mid-corner oversteer where it starts to get loose on you. And then you can't get transition back. You really have to be smooth coming through 1 so that the car's balanced so you can immediately tiptoe back to the right-hand side. When you don't do that, that's when you see drivers pushing wide or potentially getting up over the curb. The car's not angled in the right way. There's a good fight there further back as well. As you can see a little bit further down in the battle there, you've got Garcias onto Hayes. That's a good push. Well, he's right on the gearbox of Nicky Hayes. Across the start-finish line again. Denmark the lead about 7/10 over Rowe. But it's 1.3 seconds from Rowe back to Johnson. So the 2 Pabst racing cars are pulling out nicely here right now. Hayes, Garcias, D'Orlando, and Weir just straddling the top 10. Nikita Johnson, man, another podium for him would be tremendous. This kid is definitely one to watch. Just 14 years of age. He's done a lot of off-season testing. Of course, kind of belies the experience that he has, because you think, hey, he hasn't run a lot of races. It's only his second weekend here in USF2000. But the amount of work he's done testing the USF Juniors car, he's been behind the wheel of the USF2000. They've done the work away from the racetrack to make sure when he made his debut was going to be a good one. Right? That's one of the things you want to do, and I've always said this. When a young driver comes into this program for the first time, you want to make an impact. You want people to stand at the side of the wall and say, who is this kid?
Do they have a simulator where they can test?
Well, they don't have like a top-end NASCAR simulator or an IndyCar simulator. There is obviously a Delaris simulator. The driver's off. We've got a driver's gone off at turn number 11 and 12. Someone just dropping a wheel coming through turn number 12 on the entry. Not quite sure who that was, but we'll see who falls down the order in that top group. Let's not jump on it quite yet. Driver just getting rolling again. That might have been Billy Fraser. Indeed, the Fraser, the number 92, the Kiwi, went off on the outside, pushing hard, and he is going to fall all the way back to 15th, and that is a place, Bobby, you cannot make a mistake over in turn number 12 like that, because it's the start of the straightaway, number one. Number two, it just takes you forever to get back onto the racetrack cleanly.
It really does. There's a little dip right there. If you have spent any time at PR, you know when you come around there, there's a little bit of dip off the curb, goes into a grass area, and then into some gravel. So he luckily was able to get back on the track somewhat quickly, but that is one of the worst places to drop a wheel here.
Exactly. Back to you, Phil. So obviously there's a simulator in Indianapolis and Speedway from Delara, but of course that's something kind of reserved for IndyCar drivers. It can cost a lot of money. One of the things obviously these drivers do hugely is they get on iRacing, right? They leverage iRacing in a big way. Track time is tough. Any facility that we can't get to, these guys spend hours and hours banging out laps on iRacing to get a feel for the racetrack the first time they're there. And as you know, it's very close in terms of dynamics as well. They can work with their coaches, they can work with their teams to make sure the car's set up the way it needs to be, but they really use the iRacing service.
And the iRacing has become a big deal all across sports.
There's a pass for the lead potentially. Yeah, we got a great scrap here right now. Miles Rowe trying to go after his teammate. Denmark able to hold him back. This fight side by side has allowed Johnson to close back up. 6 laps still remaining. It'll be 5 to go and they come back around. There's the fight for first, second, and third. Thomas Naveau by himself fourth. Matt Clark, the young Canadian from Ontario, for D-Force Racing, his debut weekend in USF2000. He has got himself into P5. What a great drive for Clark. Douglas runs in 6th. Dzelski 7th. Hayes, D'Orlando, and Garcias rounding out the top 10. Nikita Johnson putting all this pressure now as he closed back up. Denmark and Rowe fighting it out. And to be honest, now it is actually Johnson on Rowe. Rowe trying to make a move by Denmark, didn't get it done. Now he's got Johnson coming down the inside. Oh, Johnson, I think, had to check up a little bit. That is a wise move out of a 14-year-old to be able to, Bobby, see the situation. I don't have it done. Check up, let him through, go back at it. Lots more opportunities to pass here with 5 laps to go.
Absolutely. He lost very little ground there, but he made the smart move. You cannot go 2x2 through that section at these speeds. It is just not possible.
Well, one of you can, right?
That's true.
One driver's coming out the other side, and you're going to try to go 2x2, or maybe none. More fighting further back. You can see the drivers taking big moves down to the bottom of turn number 1. Your top 10 has Denmark leading, Rowe second. There's the gap right now. This has allowed Jace Denmark to pull away, because now Rowe has gone on the defensive. He had his mind focused on Denmark early. Now he's got Johnson, who is going to be hungry to work his way forward. Thomas Naveau coming up as well as the Canadians running 4th and 5th. Thomas Naveau from the province of Quebec. Matt Clark from Ontario. Then it's Douglas, Dzelski, D'Orlando, Hayes, and Garcias. D'Orlando trying to fight his way back forward to limit his bleeding here in the championship. And he's got those drivers he's fighting with running 1st and 2nd right now, so D'Orlando's going to be losing out here. Still an opportunity. Here goes Johnson back down to the inside again, side by side, not quite. And he's through. Yep. That is, I believe, Rowe off. Rowe, I think, off the racetrack and potentially, he's coming through the escape road. So Rowe goes off the racetrack, blow this championship wide open. Nikita Johnson to the inside, makes the move, and Miles Rowe does not give it up, and he has to come down. How far down the order is he going to fall? This is a stroke of luck for Michael D'Orlando, because Rowe's going to fall all the way down to 11th with 4 laps to go. Miles Rowe did not want to give up second to Nikita Johnson. Nikita looked to the inside the first time, had the move, I think, done the second time. and Rowe had nowhere to go. Bobby, what do you think about that?
2 cars, we just said you can't do it, and it pushed him off, but what a great pass. He set him up perfectly through that left-right.
And listen, we talked about guys with different mindsets, right? Nikita Johnson's trying to make a name for himself in USF2000 right now. He ran really well at Mid-Ohio. It was his debut a couple of months ago. This is him saying, hey, listen, I'm here for 2022 or 2023. I'm not letting you guys walk away. I'm coming in here to show you what I've got. I want to put VRD back up top. VRD won all 3 races with Alex Quinn, a British driver who came over at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway during the month of May to win on the road course. So they have victories there. They are the team champions already in our USF Juniors program with 2 drivers in the fight for the championship there. But Dan Mitchell's team and this young driver is impressing me here today. He has gone to P2, and we'll see as they come across the line. You know the gap for Denmark's going to be big. Yeah, almost 2 seconds now for Jace Denmark with 3 to go. He's in a great position, and we'll have a look at the points possibility chart here, because this, like I said, is going to be wild as things kind of shake out here. Couple laps remaining, as we said. Denmark, Johnson, Neveau onto the podium in 3rd as they run. Matt Clark runs in 4th spot. He's 4 seconds behind Neveau and 1.1 ahead of Douglas. And for a driver like Clark, his debut, he's not going to push it. He's going to hold on to P4 and make sure he takes care of things with Douglas over a second back.
What a great display of talent on your first race in USF2000 to be able to go as a rookie and place 4th. And listen, he's got plenty of room in front of him, and he's got room behind him. He's looking super solid.
Let me throw this out here right now. As they run on the racetrack in 11th, Miles Rowe would have 356 points. This is, of course, unofficial. We're just looking at the points here. I want to say that Denmark will have 351 plus the 3 bonus points. No, he doesn't have fast laps, so 2 bonus points. He'll have 353. It will be a 3-point championship lead for Miles Rowe as they run on the racetrack right now, if he's not able to get by Weir and Garcias. But this is crazy. This is not what Miles Rowe needed. He probably should have let the pass go, potentially hold on to P3. But again, with the opportunity to stop Denmark from pulling away, this thing could potentially go to the 3rd event, the final race of the year on Sunday. 2 laps remaining. Denmark in front of Nikita Johnson by 1.9 seconds. Neveau, Clark, Douglas, top 5. Jazelski, 6th. D'Orlando up to 7th. This is going to help Michael D'Orlando as well. Nicky Hayes in 8th, Garcias in 9th, and Christian Weir in 10th. Let's have a look again then at the points potential here for D'Orlando, currently running in the 7th spot. That would put him at 337. So he'd be back by only 19 points. So he's still in the fight, with Rowe now back into the 11th position. This is such a wild development for this championship. And again, we have to reiterate, $406,000 on the line right now for the scholarship that would move the champion into Indy Pro 2000. Nowhere else are drivers at this level running for these kind of stakes, the opportunity to continue your career, move up to the next level. And you remember, Indy Pro 2000, that's only 2 steps away from the NTT IndyCar Series.
Yeah, it is a big deal. And, you know, if you're a golf fan, last week the PGA Tour finished up the Tour Championship. You had guys making putts for $875,000, right. Okay?
Hold your breath on that one.
You literally just watched a guy go from 2nd to now 10th and could have cost him $467,000.
There's a lot on the ground. Yeah, it's at $406,000, like we said. Rowe just going off the racetrack. It blows things wide open for the remaining 2 races of the weekend. Denmark now over 2 seconds from Nikita Johnson, who runs P2. Thomas Neveau, Matt Clark, and Jacob Douglas. Young guns coming to the forefront here right now. We'll see Johnson next year, 14 years of age. He'll turn 15 on essentially the Indianapolis 500 weekend. He's a Memorial Weekend baby. He'll be 15 when we get back there for Lucas Oil Raceway at Indianapolis Raceway Park for the Oval. He is only 14. Clark, his first race. Douglas only 16 years of age. We got the young guns up front here right now in USF2000, but Jace Denmark coming off a victory in Toronto. Trying to go back-to-back. He'll work his way out here. What a fantastic drive from the pole position. Big run down the straightaway. The Pabst Racing crew heading out. How about back-to-back jacks for Jace Denmark, the driver from Scottsdale, Arizona, winning for Pabst Racing the opening round of the triple header for USF2000 here at the Grand Prix of Portland. A massive victory for Denmark, and talk about momentum for this young driver. 2 wins. He gets to within unofficially 3 points, maybe 4 points on the championship. This is fantastic. And for Nikita Johnson, a tremendous drive as well, as he ends up finishing in 2nd. Puts all that pressure on Rowe, able to force a mistake with a move 2x2 through turn number 10 and 11. And then Thomas Naveau rounding out the podium. This is big for Thomas Naveau as well. He needs a result like this. And then to cap off the top 5, 2 drivers deserving kudos. How about a debut for Matt Clark? If you're a Canadian right now who's looking for the next superstar, there's 3 and 4. Thomas Naveau from Quebec, Matt Clark from Ontario, Canada. His debut, he goes P4. This is the guy we're going to be watching for the next 20 years here in open wheel racing. And of course, Jacob Douglas from New Zealand, matching his best run of the year for exclusive Autosport. Another top 5 for Jacob. He has found more and more speed second half of the season. Best run of the year for Danny Dzelski in 6th spot as well. Michael D'Orlando in 7th. He is lucky. The issue that they had with Rowe, he's not that far back. Less than 20 points off still in the championship. Nicky Hayes ends up 8th. Jorge Garcias at 9th. And Miles Rowe does end up, I believe, coming to 10th. He ends up getting by Weir on the final circuit. So move a couple of point shakedown there as well. 4 points back potentially. Unofficial on the right side of the screen we're looking at. Usually it's not quite exact, but Rowe still will hold the lead over Denmark. Guys, that was about everything you could ask for if you were asking for excitement here in USF2000.
Not a bad way to kick off the race weekend. I mean, everything, like you said. Great battles, wrecks, cautions. Fantastic.
And it's still Friday morning.
Oh, I know.
We haven't
even had
him
lunch
there
yet.
last year, right?
Oh, this is fantastic.
Still
Absolutely
Friday morning.
fantastic.
So the drivers, of course, will work their way around the racetrack. There's the remainder of the top 20 there. And again, coming right into pit lane right now is Jace Denmark. Bobby, I'm going to head out to Victory Lane. We're going to have our celebrations there. I'll head right back out to pit lane to do the driver introductions for Indy Pro 2000. Come back in and join you and Phil for another race, man. Indy Pro 2000 up next.
Can't wait. Let's do this. All right.
We're looking forward to it.
Oh, my gosh. Phil, what a race.
Wow. And we still got 8 to go.
We do. We still have to. What a drive, though, for Jace Denmark. Takes the victory. Points battle as now, again, unofficial. It looks like maybe 3-4 points. He's been able to make up that pretty much total. Man, I feel bad because Miles Rowe was right there. And within the last 5 laps of the race.
But was he too aggressive, Bobby?
I don't know if he was too aggressive or maybe he was defending the line. And again, we were really impressed with what Naveau was able to do. But man, you just talk about that and you look at what they were able to do. And again, not saying that Rowe got hosed, because maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But his lead evaporated instantly.
Yep.
And that's what makes great racing, because you never know what's going to happen. It's great for the fans. It's great for all of us that are watching here on the track cameras. But, man, first race down, what more do you want?
8 more.
Oh, and we have 8 more coming.
And we got them in the next 3 days.
Oh, I can't wait. But, again, we talked about it a lot. We've talked about it last year. We talked about it in June. Turn 1. It's always coming down to turn 1.
It is, because you like say here at this track, there's only a couple spots you can pass, a couple straightaways, and that's it. And so they figured if I can't get into turn 1 first, maybe I got a chance.
Right.
Once I take the lead.
And we saw guys making very aggressive moves down into that chicane, and that was fantastic to see. We saw it on the start, on the restarts, all of that lovely stuff. So just amazing, amazing. And we have 8 more to go. I cannot wait. 8 more races to go.
I'm ready.
I am too. We're going to go down here in just a minute to Victory Lane. We will hear from our winner, Jace Denmark, and we will get his perspective on it. And again, guys, these guys are on track twice more. We have 3 races coming up with Indy Pro 2000. We have ARCA Menards tomorrow night headlining. We have Indy Lights on Sunday, and of course the NTT IndyCar Series and the Grand Prix of Portland on Sunday. I'm fired up. I know, you know, as he just said, it's not even noon yet. We're this amped up, Phil, on Friday. It's not even noon. It's amazing.
And we're not going to have a lot of time in between racing. We're going to go right again here in about, 30 minutes?
Yeah, literally. And it's going to be fantastic. I am so excited that this is how it's going to be, because it's just action-packed. Time to go. Do want to bring up, though, there is going to be an IndyCar autograph session this afternoon. Now, I know the line was already getting long. Starts in about 15 minutes. It's on the south side of PIR over at the Firestone exhibit, and that's where IndyCar drivers will be signing autographs. When I was over there about an hour ago, there was already a line.
Wow. If the Xfinity autograph sessions ain't any indication, that line, if I'm a fan, I'm on my way over there it might be too late.
It's your Uncle Cooper.
Get over there now, because that
Sure,
is
once in
gonna
a
be
blue
something
moon,
else.
you might need your tires
All
for
right,
hauling a
let's go
horse
down
in
to
a
Rob in
hailstorm.
victory lane.
But
Rob,
most
take it away.
days, you're gonna need your tires for tougher things, like teaching your sister's kid how to parallel park. Thankfully, these Cooper Enduro Maxes aren't just tough, they're everyday tough. Okay, there's a lot of improvement. Go with the Coopers.
Especially at the very end.
Cooper.
Really has blown things wide open in the championship. Let's start working our way through here. Coming home today in third spot for D-Force Racing, Thomas Naveau. And to present Thomas with his third place trophy from Cooper Tires, Sean Malone. Cooper Tires, of course, our primary partner, fantastic partner of this road to Indy. Sean coming in to give Thomas Naveau a great run here. His trophy for P3. Watch for him to step things up again in race number 2 later on today. A tremendous young driver from Canada. Finishing in second, just 14 years of age and packed with talent from VRD Racing. P2 today, Nikita Johnson. Dan Anderson from Anderson Promotions, the CEO of the Road to Indy, will present him with his second place trophy. And man, we're looking forward. This is a precursor for 2023, I think, for Nikita Johnson. What a drive. Put the pressure on Miles Rowe and made a fantastic pass over in turns number 10 and 11 to move his way to P2. More to come for this young driver for sure. And another podium for VRD Racing. Dan, thank you so much. Let's bring the driver out here. This has really wound things up, folks. He won the last round in Toronto, got to within 25 points of the lead, put it on pole, won the race, most laps led, I believe, just 4 points unofficially separating first and second. My winner today for Pabst Racing, Jace Denmark. Jace, I'll tell you, in Toronto, that was a big win. You know how big it was to get yourself back into the fight, just 25 points back. Put it on pole and kind of walked away, but Miles went at you there midway through the race. What were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's just really intense with the points and being teammates, and we're both super, super fast. So happy that I could secure a win and get a little bit more chunk out of the points, but just happy overall.
You feeling the pressure right now? Obviously, we got a couple more races. Or are you just settling in and ready to go at it?
I'm just going with the flow. Just got to settle in. That's all you have to do to win these things. So.
First time here at Portland. What do you think of this racetrack?
Oh, it's beautiful. I love it. It flows really good. And it's fast and 10 and 11, and it's just a nice flowing track.
For the second straight race, you're on top of the podium. Get up here. One more round of applause for Jace Denmark. What a great run for him. Put himself right in the championship fight. Chris Pantani from Cooper Tires will come on up here and bring him with yet another first place trophy. Jace won earlier in the year as well at the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, and now just 4 points back. And remember, $406,000, the scholarship on the line here this weekend for the drivers here in USF2000 that they'll take to move to Indy Pro next year. And again, what a fantastic run we had today for Jace Denmark. Got challenged by his teammate Miles Rowe midway through the race, held him back through turn number 2 and 3, and that really allowed Nikita Johnson to fight his way back up. And Nikita, of course, head down, trying to get himself onto the podium as well. A strong run to the inside of turn number 10, backed out the first time, but got the run, completed the pass down into the corner again, turn 10 and 11. Rowe having trouble going off the racetrack and salvaging his way back to P10 to really tighten up the championship standings. But again, one more race coming later on this afternoon. Guys, we've got the champagne. I know you don't want to spray yourself because you got to wear these suits, so give it a rip. Champagne fly. One more time, folks, a round of applause for our first of 3 podiums here this weekend in the Cooper Tires USF2000 Championship. Jace Denmark with the win. Nikita Johnson second. Jace Denmark third. Now it's time to go Indy Pro 2000 racing, where Louis Foster could potentially lock down the championship and the scholarship worth over $614,000.
It's your Uncle Cooper. Sure, once in a blue moon, you might need your tires for hauling a horse in a hailstorm. But most days, you're gonna need your tires for tougher things, like teaching your sister's kid how to parallel park. Thankfully, these Cooper Enduro Maxes aren't just tough, they're everyday tough. Okay, there's a lot of improvement. Go with the Coopers. Cooper.
Karting and motorsport enthusiasts, Lucas Oil School of Racing is America's #1 Formula Car race school. Enjoy modern paddle shifters, pit speed limiter, and onboard video along with integrated data systems. Get started today with our 2-day basic or advanced course. Lucas Oil School of Racing is the official school of the road to Indy. We can also qualify you for your SCCA license. Get started today by visiting us at www.lucasraceschool.com.
It's your Uncle Cooper. Your SUV is a multi-purpose tool, like a corkscrew fish scaler. And that means your tires should be multi-purpose too. Like these Cooper rugged Treks. They're tough, but also run smooth as butter. And with dual sidewalls, it's like having a multi-tool that can look like a completely different multi-tool. Don't take that idea, by the way. I'm gonna patent it. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
With over 40 years in business, High Tide Boat Lifts is committed to elevating your craft. Whether you own a personal watercraft or a large yacht, we can design and create the perfect lift for your needs. At High Tide Boat Lifts, we understand that you've worked hard to get to a successful place in life. We'll ensure you have a hassle-free experience, maximizing the time you spend on your boat with family and friends, and supporting your dreams out on the open water.
It's your Uncle Cooper. Sure, once in a blue moon, you might need your tires for hauling a horse in a hailstorm. But most days, you're gonna need your tires for tougher things, like teaching your sister's kid how to parallel park. Thankfully, these Cooper Enduro Maxes aren't just tough, they're everyday tough. Okay, there's a lot of improvement. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
Karting and motorsport enthusiasts, Lucas Oil School of Racing is America's #1 Formula Car race school. Enjoy modern paddle shifters, pit speed limiter, and onboard video along with integrated data systems. Get started today with our 2-day basic or advanced course. Lucas Oil School of Racing is the official school of the road to Indy. We can also qualify you for your SCCA license. Get started today by visiting us at www.lucasraceschool.com.
It's your Uncle Cooper. Your SUV is a multi-purpose tool, like a corkscrew fish scaler. And that means your tires should be multi-purpose too. Like these Cooper rugged Treks. They're tough, but also run smooth as butter. And with dual sidewalls, it's like having a multi-tool that can look like a completely different multi-tool. Don't take that idea, by the way. I'm gonna patent it. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
With over 40 years in business, High Tide Boat Lifts is committed to elevating your craft. Whether you own a personal watercraft or a large yacht, we can design and create the perfect lift for your needs. At High Tide Boat Lifts, we understand that you've worked hard to get to a successful place in life. We'll ensure you have a hassle-free experience, maximizing the time you spend on your boat with family and friends, and supporting your dreams out on the open water.
RacingOptics.com.
Racing Optics is the official aero screen and helmet protective solution partner of the Indy and the NTT IndyCar Series. Racing Optics is a Wilson family-owned business with deep motorsports roots. Dempsey will compete as the rookie of the 1958 500 with A.J. Foyt. Racing Optics is proud to continue the family legacy of participating in and working with IndyCar for 60-plus years. Visit RacingOptics.com to learn more about helmet tear-offs and windshield protection featured on every IndyCar.
Embrace the power and speed of the NTT IndyCar Series on Sirius XM. Each week, longtime IndyCar broadcaster Jack Arute gets you caught up with all the latest news and notes when he hosts Brick by Brick with former Indy 500 winner Tony Kanaan. Then, from the green to the checkers, hear every race all season long on Sirius XM IndyCar Nation, channel 205, and on the Sirius XM app, free for most subscribers. Phil, one race down, we got another one ready to go. Let's send it trackside to Rob Howden. Rob, let's kick it off for Indy Pro 2000.
A tremendous race in the Cooper Tires USF2000 Championship. The title chase, of course, collapsing down to just 4 points now with Miles Rowe over Jace Denmark. Not quite the same here in the Indy Pro 2000 Championship presented by Cooper Tires, as Louis Foster has run through the middle part of the season, has a chance to clinch it today with a top 10 finish. Let's have a look at the 15 drivers who are getting set to go here right now in the Cooper Tires Indy Pro 2000 Grand Prix of Portland. Again, 15 drivers, as I said, set to go. They've got themselves dialed in here on pit lane and ready to roll. We talked a little bit about, of course, the cars in USF 2000. More horsepower, more downforce, more braking, more tires here for Indy Pro, and they'll go significantly quicker around this racetrack. 170 horsepower up in to 250 here, and of course all the engines in this program produced by Elite Engines out of Wisconsin. Of course, that team headed up by 1998 Indianapolis 500 Rookie of the Year Steve Knapp. His son Logan with us as well. We had Mike Knapp already give us the command to start for USF 2000. Let's have a look at this grid right now. Is the number 5 of Marcos Flack, the Australian driver, starting at the tail of the grid. He made his debut a couple of weeks ago at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Kind of the summer break from his racing over in Europe. Great to have him here with Jay Howard Driver Development. Flack starting from the 15th position. Row number 7, Lindsey Brewer, the number 93 for Exclusive Autosport. She's found speed throughout the day, was about 3 seconds off to start the weekend, but has climbed her way back forward, just a second off as she continues to go faster and faster every session. Lindsey Brewer in the number 93 starting 14th. Alongside her, Braden Eves for Jay Howard Driver Development, the former USF 2000 champion, in the number 4 starting in the 13th position. Row number 12 on the outside for Pabst Racing, Jordan Missig in the number 19 starting 12th. And on the inside for Turn 3 Motorsports, a former Formula Ford Festival winner, Jonathan Brown, the Irishman, in the number 2 starting in 11th. Moving now to row number 5, Bajoy Garg on the outside of the number 7 for Jay Howard Driver Development, alongside the winner from Worldwide Technology Raceway, Salvador de Alba for Jay Howard in the number 6, the Mexican starting 9th. Row number 4 will have Yuvan Sundermurthy on the outside of the Pabst Racing number 18, and on the inside from Indiana, it's Jack William Miller in the Miller Vinatieri Motorsports number 40. Row 3 will have Josh Green on the outside, a winner on the season, the rookie out of Mount Kisco, New York for Turn 3 Motorsports starting 6th. Inside, out of Pakistan, living in London, England, it is Anam Ahmed for Juncos Hollinger Racing in the number 47. Row number 2 now on the outside, last year's USF 2000 champion Kiko Porto for D-Force Racing in the number 1, and on the inside, his D-Force teammate Nolan Siegel at Apollo Alto, California in the number 8. 15 drivers in the field, 2 on the front row off pole. Reese Golden, number 55, a winner in both USF 2000 and Indy Pro, the Juncos Hollinger Racing driver, starting in second, but the driver on the pole position looking to secure the championship. The move to Indy Lights here today for Exclusive Autosport in the Copart number 90 out of England, Louis Foster on the pole. As I had mentioned, Elite Engines behind every one of the drivers here, and joining me here on pit lane right now to give the command to fire, Logan Knapp, Elite Engines Technical Director.
On behalf of Cooper Tires, drivers, start your Elite engines.
Engines coming to life down here on pit lane. 15 drivers set to go. Can Louis Foster get the job done? We'll find out. 30 laps of action coming here for Indy Pro 2000.
All right, thank you, Rob. That's right, Indy Pro 2000, race number 1 of their 3 coming up right now here at Portland International Raceway. Phil, we've got 1 race down. We have another one on deck right now. I'm going to say it. I think something happens at turn 1. Call me crazy, but I have a feeling.
I don't even have to be a betting man to agree with you on that one. It's Rob works his way back into the booth here. It's been crazy. We saw it last year. We saw it in June. We've seen it already at first race, and we've got 8 more to go.
Absolutely. 15 cars on the track now, and again, it's Louis Foster's championship to lose. So we'll see what will happen going forward. But man, I'm excited. I'm really actually excited to see this series, especially more horsepower, a little bit bigger engines, bigger tires. This one is fascinating to me. Not that the other ones aren't, but this one is fascinating to me because these are the guys that we will see in the NTT IndyCar series in 2, maybe 3 years.
We've already seen a couple guys from last year jump up.
Absolutely.
And you're right.
It's going to be fantastic. I'm excited to see what happens here. They'll run a couple pace laps, and then they're going to drop that green, and all bets are off what happens down into turn number 1. Man, I'm fired up. This series, I'm ready.
We know what's going to happen in turn 1.
Oh, yes, we do know what's going to happen in turn 1. Let's welcome Rob back in. Rob, what do you think is going to happen in turn 1?
Well, first and foremost, it's a lot warmer outside than it is in this trailer right now.
Feels good in here.
It is very nice in here right now. The heat's starting to get up. It was about 60 degrees when we got here in the morning, 75 degrees trackside right now. Beautiful sunny day, an absolutely gorgeous day for everybody here trackside for Fun Friday. But I'll tell you this, turn 1, this is the one thing I would expect. Drivers that come up to USF2000 Indy Pro, they have the experience, a couple of years in that. We expect more out of them, more racecraft, more understanding as well. 6 of the drivers here of the 15 have been here before. They've gone through that opening complex before. So I'm going to cross my fingers that they're able to get the job done. There is a bit of a different mindset as well. Foster really has the championship kind of locked right now, so he doesn't need to force it. Gold knows that. He obviously doesn't want to wreck machinery. Could be a cleaner start, but again, it is so tough to get through there side by side. We'll see what happens as the drivers work their way to turn number 12. Time to go racing here for Indy Pro 2000. 6 races on the docket, 1 down, and it's time to go racing for Indy Pro 2000. Foster on the inside, Gold on the outside. They'll crawl their way up to the punch-off zone. It's time to go racing to the green line. Here we go. Green, green, green. Flag flying at start, finish. Now hold your breath. Maybe 3, 4, 5 wide. A couple of big lockups. You got guys driving down the inside. Maybe they did not work. Indeed, look at this. 4, 5, 6 drivers all involved. So there you go, folks. I hoped, I wished, I prayed. It did not come true. Drivers just overcooking it down into the corner. And this is the one thing, and you hope these drivers understand this. When you dive down to the bottom, nobody's been there all day. They weren't driving down there all yesterday. There's no grip down there. It's dirty. Anytime you dive to the bottom like that, you got to brake early.
You do.
Do you have a stop-and-go penalty if you miss the turn?
They have to go through the entire thing. If they haven't stopped, they could get a drive-through penalty. That's the problem. If you've not approached that corner correctly, where if you've cut the corner, you've got to come back way through, you could easily get either get on the radio and tell you to lose a couple spots, slow down for a lap, or potentially a drive-through penalty. That's, again, you'd hope the drivers would get through cleanly. Pretty good up front for the drivers who were able to do it, but it was further back. I think we saw drivers get super aggressive. Let's have a look at a replay here. We had another driver go off there, but let's have a look at the replay. Here's a good shot of it. You got 2 drivers pushing each other down to the bottom. There's no way you're getting through there. Contact from the back. Drivers further back. Everybody trying to funnel back in. There's the contact mid-corner there. One driver going around pretty aggressively. That was Kiko Porto who got hit from the right side. You see, I think Jonathan Brown coming through here. Also, one of the Pabst Racing drivers, I think that's Yuvan Sundermurli. He's coming around. There's Lindsey Brewer as well, I believe. No, that I think is Jordan Missing coming through as well. Here's a better shot from the inside. There's the contact. So that's Jack William Miller going way too deep into the corner. He gets into the back of one of the D-Force cars, I believe Nolan Siegel. You can see Anam Ahmed trying to keep to the inside. So, yeah, Jack William Miller a little heavy down into the inside. Now, hard to see there. Did he get contact from behind as well? He came into the braking zone. He may have been tapped. One of the things when you come into a braking zone like that, everybody is at the limit, right? You're at the limit of the tires. You're asking as much as those Cooper tires can do. The minute you get pushed from the back, it can break loose that traction, and it takes a while to come back. So that was probably a chain reaction there, but we saw 100% that Jack William Miller getting into the back of the number 8 of Nolan Siegel. And again, this almost blows things out of the water already. Siegel, one of the drivers that was in the championship fight, trying to close up on Louis Foster. All Louis has to do is finish in the top 10 to win this championship, maybe even less now with Gold running P2.
That was pretty intense. I mean, again, you saw cars going in the back. The guy's going sideways, right? At that point, as you said earlier, hands off the wheel.
Take your hand off the wheel.
There's nothing you can do.
Yeah, and wait to come around, see what's going on, try to keep the revs up if you can, get the get in the clutch.
Right.
What they say about this, and I'm not sure if you heard it before, but when you spin 2 feet in, so when you spin, you're clutch and brake. That way the engine's going to still be running. You're stopping the car so it doesn't roll back. You've seen a lot of incidents where somebody gets off the brake and it rolls back into somebody else. When you spin 2 feet in, hold on to it, and then eventually once you start slowing down or you think you can control the spin, you can get back on it. So, again, that's kind of the issue a little bit here. We saw a bunch of drivers lock it up on the inside. Tough one for Siegel getting hit from behind. Don't know whether or not Jack William Miller had some help as well, but that was the contact, kind of midway through that front, maybe 4 back to 8 or 9. So, everybody else settling back in. Foster with the lead now. Gold second. Anam Ahmed goes up to third. Marcos Flack from last to fourth. All those drivers having to go to the left side of the track, scoot their way through to be able to come through this area here, this bailout zone where you kind of have to get penalized coming through it. That allowed Marcos Flack and the Jay Howard driver development number 5 to go to fourth. He probably just checked up going into the corner, knowing the chaos was coming, and huge benefit for Flack as he comes out P4. Jonathan Brown up to 5th, Braden Eves in 6th, Salvador de Alba in 7th spot, 8th is Jordan Missick, 9th is Josh Green, 10th is Lindsey Brewer. She now has Bajoy Garg right behind her, and then 4 seconds back is Yuvan Sundaramurthy, Kiko Porto, Nolan Siegel, and I believe Jack William Miller, not sure whether he's back on the racetrack or not. Siegel's in pit lane and Porto is as well.
Things have kind of settled down now once we've got through there and got 4 laps in or 3 laps in, and they've kind of spread out a little bit.
30 laps the duration for the drivers here at Indy Pro 2000, and up front now by 0.8 of a second, Louis Foster, who, like I said, here's how he can win the championship. He can just start all 3 races, wins the title. He can finish 11th or better in this race and win the title. But a guy like this who's won these many races, you want to go out on top. You want to have the exclamation point on the end of your championship season. He wants to stand on top of the podium where we'll do one for the win and 1 for the championship as well. So Louis Foster looking to get the job done here for Exclusive Autosport, the team that scored the team championship last year, and will look to add their first Road to Indy driver championships. A lot of championships in F1600 racing for Exclusive Autosport, but the opportunity for them to win their first here in the Road to Indy presented by Cooper Tires.
I've never known a driver that didn't have to win that still didn't want to win. He's going to want to win.
He is. But the good thing about Louis, so let's go back to a couple of weeks ago at Worldwide Technology Raceway. We're on that 1.25 mile oval, super fast. He had a pretty good race car, but I'm not sure if it was one to win or not. He was right behind the battle for second and third. Probably could have got in there, put his elbows up, and fought for it. But 4th place was all he needed to get the points. The driver immediately in front of him, or behind him rather, Reese Gold was behind him on the racetrack. Didn't force the issue, didn't make any mistakes. That's why he's able to come in here in the situation he is in, because he handled the strategy perfect on the oval event in Madison, Illinois. That was just a great run there, although not going to be it won't be the highlight of his year. He didn't get the victory there, but he'll be able to look back and go, the way we handled running at Worldwide Technology Raceway is what gave me the opportunity to come to Portland with such a lead.
Exactly.
Foster leading by 0.7 of a second. Reese Gold will put the hammer down, trying to close back up. And I would believe that if the fight got aggressive, I don't know that maybe Foster would keep fighting him, because knowing that he can come back and get it in race number 2. He wants this win for sure for Exclusive Autosport. And we look forward to celebrating the incredible achievements of all of our drivers at our championship celebration on Sunday evening. We'll be right on the river there at the Holiday Inn. Looking forward to a fantastic evening to, again, crown our champions, celebrate the top 3, team champions as well. Number of different awards that we hand out, Rookie of the Year, Spirit Award. Looking forward to all of that as part of the banquet on Sunday night. We're actually not on the racetrack on Sunday at all, so it'll be an easy day. Maybe come over and watch the IndyCar race, then go celebrate the future stars of the NTT IndyCar Series later in the evening.
And what's nice is you guys do it right away. You do it right after the race weekend instead of waiting like some of the series 2 or 3 months.
Indeed, yeah. A lot of work.
Awesome.
A lot of work goes into getting that to happen. You know, all the stuff that we do for the presentation and the award ceremony itself. But we have a fantastic crew at the Road to Indy that gets all this done. So kudos to them. It's a lot of work. They'll have a deep sigh of relief when it's all said and done on Sunday evening. But yeah, we'll cap things off there and look forward to the 2023 season. Again, and that really gets started. We have our fall combine, the Road to Indy Fall Combine, which was formerly the Chris Griffiths test at the road course at Indianapolis. That's happening on October the 22nd and 23rd, and a great opportunity for so many young drivers to come and sample USF2000, Indy Pro 2000, and this year USF Juniors equipment as well ahead of coming to run. They get kind of a tryout for the teams, tryout for all the drivers as well, that fall combine. Looking forward to that. Foster out to the pretty nice lead. And that was Marcos Flack in the Jay Howard Driver Development number 5, able to come through there. He qualified, had some issues in qualifying, and was dead last. He was the driver who went off in qualifying. But a really good run for Marcos, the Australian driver who is running over in Europe this year. But during this kind of off time with a couple open weekends, electing to come over and sample this Indy Pro 2000 program. And he has been very impressive. Top 10 finish on the oval at Worldwide Technology Raceway. That event won by his teammate Salvador De Alba. But as the leaders work their way through 1 and 2, you can see Ahmed there in 3rd, then Flack in 4th. Just a really good run for Marcos Flack. And again, that was a wise move. Started last. There's no need to charge into turn number 1, knowing potential chaos is there. He held back. Everybody went off track. He drove around them all. Finds himself in P4.
There you go.
Indeed. And we'll actually look. I don't think he'll be able to get down to a fast lap. Now, granted, the cars are going to start going lighter and lighter as they start to burning fuel. We'll see where he is on fast lap time, because there is a potential possibility. He was a 109.6. Fast lap right now, 109.3 for gold. So maybe Flack could find some more pace to move himself a little bit further up as the fuel load goes down. And again, super early in this race, as we know, 7 laps down, still 23 to go. So at the end of this race, these Cooper tires, the one thing about it is, the first 5 laps when you're qualified, that's when you're going to get the maximum. But the consistency after that is huge. As this car gets lighter and lighter burning fuel, there may be an opportunity. And the temperature's going up. The grip levels are going down. Going up. There's a good possibility that Marcos Flack could find a lap that moves him further from the tail of the field up the order for the start of race number 2 this afternoon. That's one of the things. We still have a couple races still to come here for both USF 2000 and Indy Pro 2000 today. We'll go green flag racing at 4 o'clock this afternoon with USF 2000. And then I believe 5 o'clock scheduled start time for our second race for Indy Pro, right ahead of ARCA practice, which will roll out here later on this evening.
What you're saying is Bobby and I, we're all going to be here a while today.
You guys, I'll be getting out of here as soon as I possibly can, but you guys are going to be here for a while.
We love it, though. We wouldn't be here if we didn't.
I'm exactly the same. It's one of the beautiful things about being part of the Road to Indy. I'm here early, and I'm usually here late. And again, great to see these young drivers, and great to get a chance to work with you guys here, being part of the Grand Prix of Portland. Up front, this is a battle. I don't think it's going to be done quite yet. Foster versus Gold. Again, this is first and second in the championship fight here right now. When it comes to points, Louis Foster only needs to be 67 points ahead of Gold going into race number 2. So at the end of this race, if he's up by 67, he wins the championship, because there's only 33 points up for grabs in any one race. 66 points total left after this race. Right now, he's rolling with about an 83-point lead. So even if Reese Gold gets by, he'll still have the opportunity to secure this championship with a second-place finish. But as Phil and I said, a driver wants to win. That's why they're race car drivers. That's why they're champions, because if the opportunity to win is there, they're going to go for it. And that's the beauty of this program right now. We'll take an opportunity to say hello to those of you who are tuning in on the Road to Indy TV app, or potentially watching on the Road to Indy YouTube channel, or on IndyPro2000.com. We wish you were here trackside, because it is a beautiful day here in Portland, and I know that people are going to be pouring in here throughout the weekend. A lot of media being done. IndyCar drivers, of course, on radio stations. A big open welcome party last night. We had some of our Road to Indy drivers there, too. This is a fantastic event up here in the Pacific Northwest, and Portland, of course, rolling out the red carpet for IndyCar, and we're thrilled to be part of it and looking forward to what should be a packed house. Interesting for me, we did the qualifying session this morning. As I got over the bridge and walked back to our paddock, which is located on the outside of turn number 12, same place as the ARCA paddock, you could see people filing in. Cars were coming in. I was having to dodge people. It's going to get more and more packed. But on a Friday morning, people coming in, that's exciting for sure.
I would take the day off of work to be here.
100% I would, yeah.
And they can be here tomorrow, too, folks. Tickets still available all the way through Sunday.
Lead just a half a second now for Louis Foster over Reese Gold. You can see them coming through now. Turns number 5 and 6. Again, a very flowing part of the racetrack. I talked to Anam Ahmed about the track, asked him what he thought. He said he reminded him of some of the European tracks that he had driven on, some of the UK tracks. So I know he feels very comfortable here. We talked to Jace Denmark as well on the podium. He absolutely loves this track, very flowing. And, of course, you love it when you're up front. Let's just be real. When you're winning and it suits your style, you love it. But almost every driver I talk to in the paddock says it's just fantastic to be here. Obviously, a much different area. And, again, we talked about this earlier, really a level playing field for most of the drivers. There are 6 racers in this particular field who have been here before, have run on this racetrack back in 2019 in USF2000. But for the most part, no one's been here in a couple of years. They haven't had a test this year. These cars are different, of course, as well. We have, of course, the new center section, a new carbon tub that's a bit wider than the old one to be able to facilitate the halo we have, the increased safety in both Indy Pro 2000 and USF 2000. So the dynamics of the race cars are going to change a little bit, of a higher center of gravity. So not exactly the same. Yeah, you know the racetrack, you know the way to turn, but every track's a bit different, right?
And coming to Portland, a lot of these people, you always kind of think, well, maybe we're going to have that wet step. But they got so lucky this weekend for all 3 days. It's been that way the summer here, pretty much, though. And so the weather turned out perfect for them. One thing they did not have to worry about was the weather.
Yeah, I love that for sure, is the fact we got this gorgeous weekend coming. It's going to be warm. There's no doubt about that. It's going to be a hot weekend, so make sure you stay hydrated if you're trackside. Please do what you can to take in as much liquids as you can throughout the entire day. We appreciate that. We don't want anybody struggling to get through and having to go to medical. So just make sure you keep yourself hydrated, and you'll be good to go throughout the weekend. Our drivers all doing the same, of course, because it will be warm inside these race cars, especially come tomorrow. I think it'll be a little bit warmer tomorrow than it is today. But otherwise, these drivers doing a tremendous job. And again, they're all super physically fit. This is what they train for. This is why you're on the treadmill. You're doing all the work that you need to be done to make sure you're at peak physical condition to be able to handle everything you need to be behind the wheel in these kind of conditions.
And you do have a race coming this evening, and that is usually when it gets even a little bit warmer here. That's about our time of day.
Well, that's good to know. It's going to be nice and warm when we go racing this afternoon. I think it's a 4 o'clock start for USF 2000, 5 o'clock green flag for Indy Pro. So we'll cap off the day with a couple of more races for you ahead of ARCA practice. Foster and Gold now 4.5 seconds out from Anam Ahmed. You can see the gap there. There's first, second. That's where they run in points as well. There's Anam Ahmed by himself in third. There's, again, in fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth. Wow, let's all line them up right there. Flack, Brown, Eves, DeAlba, Missig, Green, and Brewer now capping off the top 10. Braden Eves started back in 13th. He has driven himself up to P6. Looking at the lap time for Marcos Flack again, I don't think he's got down to where he needs to be here. Reese Gold, a 109.3. Yes, he's a second off where he was in qualifying. But Marcos Flack's a driver that can potentially lay a lap down here that may help him move forward. We'll see if he's able to get that lap as the fuel load starts going down for Flack. But he's going to be challenged here in a bit potentially by Jonathan Brown. Let's see how far. Yeah, Brown's less than a second back, was quicker by about a 10th. Josh Green, I think, sliding by the inside of Brewer there. So Josh Green runs in 9th, Lindsey Brewer in 10th. A good top 10 run here for Lindsey Brewer. She has found speed throughout this entire weekend. So again, last time by, Brewer at 110.2, Sooner Murthy 110.2. A couple of drivers at 110 flat. Eves a 110.2. Brown a 110.5. So Brewer turning pretty good lap times. And she's a story we've been watching throughout the year. You know, a young lady who I had the fortune to watch in karting back probably about a decade ago, but she's worked hard. She's got, she's been driving when she can. She did some Skip Barber racing, some touring car racing last year, and was able to put a program together, the budget to come here for Indy Pro 2000. And every time we've come to the track, she doesn't have the experience of these drivers, so she ends up starting the weekend significantly back, sometimes 3.5 seconds, but every session she's dropping a half a second, a full second, getting herself closer. She was 3 seconds back to start yesterday, ended up being about 2 seconds off, then found a full second in qualifying, and here she is now running top 10. A great drive here for Lindsey Brewer and that C4 Smart Energy exclusive Autosport entry.
As we approach the halfway, this race has gone by fast.
It is a long one, though. 30 laps in total for the drivers in Indy Pro 2000 as a 1.1 second now a lead for Louis Foster. He's got 15 laps to go and looks to be pulling away from Reese Gold. Both, in fact, I would say first, second, and third place drivers all destined for Indy Lights next year. Foster potentially with the championship, he'll very likely lock that today. Reese Gold and Anam Ahmed for Juncos Hollinger Racing have both told me that their focus is on Indy Lights for next year. So I think we're going to see maybe a 16 to 18 car grid for Indy Lights next year. That's my thought, potentially. There's a lot of interest in that program, that final step before getting into the NTT IndyCar Series, and that bodes well. And I've talked a lot about this, and I think, Bobby, you and I might have talked about it in the podcast as well. One of the big issues we had with Indy Lights car count at one point was we did a transition back in 2017, 2018 to a new car in Indy Pro 2000. And that year, with the last year with the old Pro Formula Mazda, which ran for, I want to say, probably 18 years, it was a fantastic race car, was we only had 6 full-time drivers in what was a shorter season that year as people transitioned waiting for the next year for the new car. And so with only 6 full-time drivers, it took a while for us to spool things back up. When you only have 6 full-time drivers, only one driver graduated that next year in Indy Lights, and that was Victor Franzoni with the scholarship. So as we've been able to better develop Indy Pro 2000, that pool's got bigger, so the graduation pool bigger moving up to Indy Lights. We may see as many as 4 or 5 drivers, maybe even 6, come out of Indy Pro 2000 into Indy Lights next year.
Which would be big because for the longest time, Indy Lights has always been a great step ladder into the IndyCar Series. However, like you said, you had years where you might have 10 cars, 11 cars.
8, 9, 10 at one point, but then, 10, 11, yeah.
And again, if you got to build that series to build the next level. Now, I will say this. That's going to put a lot of pressure on team owners and principals in the NTT IndyCar Series because a lot of them have, dual programs, Indy Lights and IndyCar. But if you can increase the number of entrants in Indy Lights, that only benefits everybody.
Indeed.
Right?
Yeah, 100% for sure. And in the Indy Lights program, we know the Andretti. We've got, of course, HMD Motorsports, which has run as many as 6 cars already this year. TJ Speed was in there. We know a couple new teams coming up. Of course, Abel Motorsports is running 2 cars this weekend, Jacob Abel, and, of course, Flynn Lazier Racing as well. Cape Motorsports moving from USF2000 up next year. There's a lot of rumors on who could potentially be in their 2 cars. Potentially Legacy Autosports picked up a car as well. So the key is finding the cars that we can get onto the racetrack, but I know I'm talking to Levi Jones, the director of Indy Lights, would love to see 18 cars next year. I think that would be a huge momentum shift for Indy Lights. And again, like I've said, I believe it's been building since the Indy Pro 2000. Kind of the linchpin for it has grown. Yes, Indy Lights known throughout the world. The budget not overly crazy, significantly less even than F3. So there's an opportunity for more drivers to come to Indy Lights than move to IndyCar as opposed to knowing that so hard it is to get into F1. So I think with Indy Pro growing as it is, you're going to see a lot of drivers looking to go Indy Lights over the next couple of years.
Let me ask you this real quick, and not to, discredit any team owners in Indy Lights, but how important is Andretti Autosport to open wheel racing in the terms of the fact that they're putting money into Indy Lights, they're putting money in other places where maybe some teams aren't?
I think where you go with Andretti Autosport is that they were there as half the field at one point when there was only 8 or 9 cars. And we've had some tremendous owners in Indy Lights. You go back to a Brian Bellardi from Bellardi, Bellardi Auto Racing as well. But Andretti they were that stable foundation that was always going to field 4 or 5 cars. So when there was times when it was tough, Michael was there, right, to make sure that there was going to be at least X amount of drivers, which was great. So that's what you got to say to them. Now they're smart. If I'm an IndyCar team, I would want to have an Indy Lights program, not even just for drivers, but the bottom line is it's hard to find mechanics sometimes and engineers and whoever it may be, even PR people, whatever it is, right? So when you have a program like that, even like a Juncos Racing, who, if they're able to get their Indy Lights program back going again, we're hearing rumors that they may go to 2 cars in IndyCar next year with, of course, Hollinger coming in to make it a partnership there with Ricardo Juncos. They got Indy Pro, Indy Lights, and IndyCar, right? So they're able to develop crew and work their way up because we always say it's not just the road to Indy for drivers, it's the road to Indy for the crew as well. A lot of people in the industry as well.
That's very smart. And a lot of people obviously don't think about that. Hey, but again, STEM, we talk about that a lot, especially, in the Northwest. You're in they call it the Silicon Forest, right, where you have Intel and Tektronix and all these things. So if you're in the stands and you are interested in careers in science, technology, engineering, math, look to this. I ran into a friend of mine, a guy and a lady that I know from my time when I worked for the University of Oregon and Ducks football. And their son was here. They were here in June for the Xfinity race. And the son was like, I'm at an engineering school back east. And I was like, oh, do you want to get into like this? He goes, no, open wheel's my thing. He goes, I love the science. I love the fact that, the technology is there. And I was like, that to me, again, was a spark. People are coming to races today that are going to be in the paddock 10, 15 years from now on cruise.
And the amazing thing right now is that they're always looking for passionate, talented people to be part of IndyCar, to be part of the Road to Indy. All you got to do is pick up the phone, drop the email, say, hey, listen, this is what I do. I'd love to come in and talk to you guys. Everybody's always looking for passionate people to be part of it. So if you're an engineer or you want to be a mechanic or whatever it may be, contact me at the Road to Indy or anybody at the Road to Indy. I can hook you up with whoever it may be in our program or potentially an IndyCar. A lot of our people are, of course, based in Brownsburg, Indiana, or somewhere around in the Indianapolis area. So there are so many opportunities, and I think that's something that's been shown to a lot of fans that, hey, if you want to be in this industry, there are careers available. You got to work your tail off, but you're going to love it because you're going to be in racing full time.
Absolutely, and you see it a lot, especially the IMS Twitter feeds. Doug Boyles, president of Indianapolis Motor Speedway, constantly tweeting about it. Jay Douglas with the IndyCar series. Again, hey, listen, here's our link to these are the available jobs, or if we don't have a job, drop your resume in and we will call you.
That's exactly that. Yeah, and it's cool. We talked about that as I walk up and down the pit lane, the paddock area for IndyCar. I'm seeing guys that I've seen in the Road to Indy paddock. I'm high-fiving them. They've made the move up to a full-time deal, which is amazing. And some guys will go to full-time at IndyCar, then come back to the Road to Indy because it's maybe a little less stress to be part of an IndyCar program. But man, that's what you want to do if you're a race fan, man. You want to be working on a car. You want to celebrate in the successes and the defeats of the team, and you're not just on the grandstands, you're actually on pit lane. So that's the amazing thing about this program. It's a community that's available for people that want to come and play, for sure.
And in today's world, if you want a job, there's a job available.
That's very true, 100% that. Louis Foster now leading by 2.3 seconds. So coming into Portland, there was obviously the focus. Everybody talking about the championship calculations. Where did Louis Foster need to finish? Does he just need to start? Where does he need to finish in the first race? Some people, of course, nervous about it. But the bottom line is it doesn't matter when you're winning races. And I mentioned this at Worldwide Technology Raceway. If he's able to walk in and win this race, he's going to win the championship. And so many drivers I've talked to, the minute we get kind of midway through and I start talking championships, you're leading the points by X amount. Are you thinking championship? And each of them is going to say, hey, I'm just out here to win races because if I win races, the championship will take care of itself. Right?
Absolutely. And again, you see that not just with Indy Pro 2000. You see Indy Lights. You see it with IndyCar. Guys want to win. Guys want points.
Look at this racing we got further back here now. I'm telling you, there are guys going at it tooth and nail still. Josh Green on Salvador de Alba. That's the run right there. Coming onto the front straightaway. Even Sooner Murley not that far back. Braden Eves and Jordan Missing just up in front of them. Green is looking really aggressive, really racy right now as he's trying to find a way by Salvador de Alba, the driver who won just 2 weeks ago at Worldwide Technology Raceway on the oval. Again, De Alba from Mexico for Michel Jourdain, runs down there in the NASCAR Mexican Series and the Supercopa Series. He's a race winner, a championship winner down there. Transitioning into open wheel with a focus on the NTT IndyCar Series. And again, really impressive how he's gone quicker and quicker throughout the season. He's now fighting it out here with Green. That would be for 8th spot. As here's your order right now. Foster, Gold, Ahmed, Flack, and Brown, top 5. Eves, though, not that far behind Jonathan Brown. Missing in 7th. Great for Jordan Missing running P7, coming off a qualified crash at Worldwide Technology Race where they took him out of the race, where they were not able to get the car fixed to get him on track. So for him to roll in here, run 7th. Awesome job for Jordan Missing. De Alba 8th, Green 9th, Sooner Murthy rounding out the top 10, Bejoy Garg in 11th, and Lindsey Brewer rounding out the 12 drivers that remain on the racetrack right now. I don't know if Jack William Miller potentially back out on track. I think he may be, yeah. It looks like he's banged out about 16 laps. So they were able to fix the car of Jack William Miller, which I think is a good thing. Get him back out. Work on that car, let him have more seat time to potentially be better. There's still 2 more races here on the weekend, so for Jack William Miller, why not put your head down, drive the car, see what the car is going to feel like as it gets a little lower on the fuel tanks, the tires start wearing out a little bit. That's the experience he'll need to potentially be able to excel and work his way further up the grid, Bobby, in race number 2 and 3.
No, I totally agree with you. And again, let's go back and look at the top 3 right now. They not only are the points leaders, the guys that are most likely going to graduate out to Indy Lights this year, they're 20 seconds out.
Yeah, but again, primarily because they're the ones that were able to get through the chaos, right? They were able to get through there. That's why Marcos Flack is right there. Now, remember, Marcos has got the pace, but probably somewhere in the lower top 10, just outside the top 10. He hasn't shown top 5 pace throughout this weekend, so he's doing a great job there in P4, but Jonathan Brown slowly reeling him in. He's been a couple of tenths of a second quicker a lap. So with 7 laps to go, we may see a fight for 4th, but Marcos Flack still holding on to the position. But those leaders able to get through turn 1, 2, and 3 cleanly. They left the chaos behind them. that put so many drivers, some of them out of the race. Miller, Siegel, and Porto. Miller has been able to turn some laps, but he's back into pit lane. I wonder whether or not they would put Miller starting in the, he started in 7th. I was wondering whether they put fresh tires on Miller to see if he could lay a lap down. He's at a 109.8. His best lap, 108.7 in qualifying, so nowhere close there. But again, that was the chaos up front. Everybody else kind of battling it away. Braden Eves working his way forward. He's been the best in terms of moving forward other than Marcos Flack. Flack up into 4th. Braden Eves started 13th, and he is now up into 6th. The 7-position improvement for the driver from New Albany, Ohio, a former USF2000 champion. And always great to see Braden back on the racetrack because we had a horrific accident back in 2020 where he got upside down at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and actually had a neck injury, a head injury, was in the hospital for a little bit, but they was able to come right back. Was actually in the seat of a cart a couple of months later and was end up testing and was back at it in 2021, back with his exclusive Autosport team and was able to win races last year. Has since moved back to Jay Howard Driver Development, who he started his car racing career with. And we've seen Eves already on the top of the box this year. Was a race winner midway through the season as well. Again, a very talented driver. Braden Eves winning at Road America there. Started 4th, got the win in the second round of that doubleheader.
Let me ask you this about qualifying. Are they going out with limited fuel, or is it a full fuel load when they go out for qualifying?
No, they'll go out definitely with limited. Well, remember, they're going to run a 20-lap session, right? So they know what they can do. But, yeah, so they're not going to – I would not say that they would run it to the very bottom, but they do get pretty close. They don't run with a lot of fuel in the car at all when they do go for qualifying. And again, then in practice, that's when they've done full fuel kind of race simulator runs.
Right.
You don't really do that all the time in practice. You may do that at the end of a practice session. You've done a full run, bring it in, and then put the sticker tires on, or do the sticker tires potentially first when the car's a little colder, and then go back out and do that race run.
Right, because that makes sense. You were saying, in qualifying, certain speeds, obviously, again, new tires, limited fuel, cars super light, really good grip. You'll be able to throw a fast lap down. So trying to match that then in the race, it's not done, but it's difficult, more difficult to do.
Exactly. More times they would get it down. It's more because of the extra grip added to the racetrack. Because normally when we're here, we're on track before IndyCar. Like, so IndyCar hasn't even been on the racetrack yet, so we're running on our own grip. When IndyCar finally goes out and lays it down, it'll be a lot different racetrack. And I'm always interested in seeing what the drivers say when they finally got onto the racetrack after IndyCar. What's it going to be like? Because IndyCar has a bit of a different line as well, with obviously the horsepower and the characteristics of the race car. They have a more shallow entry into the corners than we do, where we're trying to roll way out to get a lot of corner speed. So a lot of the times our drivers will be actually crisscrossing over the IndyCar rubber and then going back out to where our own rubber is. So it's always interesting, of course, the different compounds as well. We're Cooper, we'll have Firestone. Sometimes we have different. We're going to have Hoosier rubber down here as well for Arcus. So there's going to be a bunch of different compounds on the racetrack. It's a pretty sizable lead for Louis Foster. And again, not only is there a race win at the end of this, with only a couple laps remaining here now, 4 laps to go, it is over $614,000. Pretty much locked and loaded before he got here anyways. But again, trying to do it in style. The British driver from the UK dialing things in. The leaders are coming back down. Here comes Jack William Miller back out onto the racetrack again. He'll let everybody kind of roll through here as he gets back out with open racetrack. Look at this, though. I want to say that is potentially 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th on top of each other. One driver's gone off too deep. Yuvan Sooner-Murthy trying to go, I believe, to the inside of Josh Green. Yeah, he was right there on Green's gearbox, so he was looking to make the move to the inside. Not able to get it done, so he'll lose a spot or two. And Sooner-Murthy having to take the escape route through the 1-2-3 combination. But Flack now has Jonathan Brown right there, Braden Eves, Jordan Missig. 4 drivers lining up 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. Hold on, this was not done at all. At least outside the top 3, because 1st, 2nd, and 3rd pretty evenly spaced out right now. Foster with almost 3 seconds over Gold. Another, I want to say 5 or 6 seconds back, maybe more even to Anam Ahmed. Yeah, it was 7, making almost 8 seconds back to Anam Ahmed, who runs in 3rd. But again, Juncos Hollinger Racing P2 and P3, and we talked about Anam Ahmed, and again, living in London, but born in Pakistan. And of course, coming into the weekend, we're all, obviously our hearts go out to everyone in Pakistan. Severe flooding there, millions of people displaced from their homes, the death toll rising from that flooding. And talking to Anam, he knows a number of people, or knew rather, sadly, who have perished in that natural disaster. And so he's racing this weekend for the people of Pakistan. If you go to his social media channel, he has a link to a website that is raising donations to try to help out whenever possible, however possible, for the people that are out of their homes. And you can check it out on social media as well. We'll share a bunch of stuff. We had Anam do a little bit of an interview with us as well. So I'm sure Anam racing with a heavy heart right now, but really wanting to get himself up on the podium here, P3.
Absolutely, and I think it's so important that you said he's going to go back home and try and help in any way possible. So that obviously is weighing on him, but good for him. Solid running. We're coming to the just past leaders have passed start finish. We got 2 to go. Rob, it's time to bring it home. Let's get the checkers.
That's it. Louis Foster has done it throughout this season, and we've talked a lot about Louis and all the broadcasts that we've done. He did not win until the final race at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. When he got here, he'd never driven these Cooper tires before. It took him a little bit of time to really get a good feel for them during qualifying. He qualified 4th and 5th in the opening round, 5th and 6th at round number 2 at Barber Motorsports Park. Got a handle on the tires at Indianapolis, so qualified second, ended up getting a win, and then went on a run where he really has been in the top 5. He's been on the podium, to be honest, 6 times over the last 9 races, top 5 as well. No, 7 times of 9 races, top 5, 8 of the last 9. Only issue was a 13th place finish at Road America. He has been the dominant driver through the second half of the season. Louis Foster in the Copart Tatis IP22 will see the white flag as they work across start finish, the exclusive Autosport driver. This will be big for Michael and Kimberly Duncalf as well. They won the team championship last year with the pairing of Braden Ease and Artem Petrov, but they have not yet won that prestigious and lucrative driver championship here on the road to Indy. They are going to get the job done here. Exclusive Autosport, a fantastic team, making the move to Brownsburg, Indiana. They're actually a Canadian team that was based in Saskatoon. The family has moved to Indiana to really focus on this program. They have an F1600 championship series as well. Joey Brienza runs with them and that team. They're moving into USF Juniors next year as well, our development program. Of course, they're in USF2000 and Indy Pro. Have tried to get into the Indy Lights program in the last couple of years, but have been thwarted by, number one, COVID. I would not be surprised to see an Indy Lights program eventually come to exclusive Autosport, but this will be the first driver championship. The Englishman has come over. He has done incredibly well throughout his career, coming through British F4, British F3, and Euro Formula. But his first championship is here in the United States of America, coming across the line to score the win. And the championship for exclusive Autosport, Louis Foster winning in Portland. The front end of the triple header, and he got the job done. Exclusive Autosport celebrating on the pit wall. Michael and Kimberly Duncalf, the engineer John Hayes, the whole crew, a part of Exclusive Autosport, celebrating a 2.1 second victory for Louis Foster. He wins the race and the title over Reese Gold. Will very likely lock in second place in the championship here. Anam Ahmed, his teammate, rounding out the podium, so a couple of Juncos Hollinger racing drivers on the podium. Marcos Flack taking advantage of the avoidance of the chaos in turn 1, 2, and 3 on the opening circuit. He goes P4 over Jonathan Brown. A strong run for Jonathan Brown, the Irishman, for turn 3 Motorsport. Jordan Missy, a great run up into 6th. Braden Eve 7th. Salvador de Alba 8th. Josh Green and Bejoy Garg rounding out the top 10. I'll tell you, Bobby and Phil, for Louis Foster, he came in here knowing all he had to do was start all 3 races, but that's where he wanted to be at the end of race number 1, because that means we're having a celebration in Victory Lane, not just 1 but 2. He'll celebrate winning the race, but he'll also get that big trophy from Dan Anderson from Anderson Promotions and Chris Pantani from Cooper Tires. He is our first champion of the 2022 season.
It is time to celebrate, my friend. Let's get out there and enjoy that. All right, so Rob is going to head out there. He will head out to Victory Lane. Welcome in Louis Foster, your champion in Indy Pro 2000 for 2022. Man, what a fantastic race. That one was a lot of fun. And like I said, going into it, I was interested to see how this would react with it being bigger cars, more grip. But, man, I thoroughly enjoyed this race.
Pretty much caution-free, too.
Oh, exactly. Again, turn 1, we talked about that, but
gonna happen.
We know it's going to happen. So that was a fantastic race. So race fans, I hope you guys are enjoying this. Weather's starting to heat up. It's 80 degrees out there right now. We're looking at the track temperature. Turn 10, 11, and 12, 114 degrees.
Wow.
116 degrees over in turns 5 and 6. Front straight just cracked the century mark, and then the backstretch, which has been in the shade for some of the morning, is now up to 96. So track temps are coming up. Tires are going to start, laying down a little bit more rubber. It's going to be a fantastic afternoon of racing. We've got 2 races down. We've got 2 to go today. USF2000 back on track for their second race. Indy Pro 2000, the guys you just saw, will be back on the track tonight. We get our first practice session with the NTT Indy cars. Man, we have a full entire afternoon still to go.
And I like what Rob said, how the tires, now we're going to switch tires, different brand coming on the track, and then coming back to the Cooper tires again.
Yep, we got Cooper tires. We will have the Firestone tires laid down by the IndyCar series. So, man, it's just a fantastic afternoon. Louis Foster out of the car now, gets the hugs, gets the kisses from family, friends, teammates. Congratulations all around. Cruz is excited. Man, it's a championship, right? It's great to have a race win, but to clinch a championship, even better. So he takes it pole position to win, wire-to-wire win for Louis Foster. Congratulations to him. And the exclusive Autosport family, congratulations on a championship. Once again, they've had team championships, never had driver championships, so that's pretty cool to see. So props to them on that. What a great time for everybody. They're going to get him over here. They're going to head out to Victory Circle. They're going to try and get an interview with Rob Howden on that. But, man, there you go, championship standings. Louis Foster, 409 points. Reese Gold, second, 83 points. Ahmed, who we were talking about, 109 back. Nolan Siegel, 111. It's a championship, though, for him. Get that giant trophy. Can't wait to see what that thing looks like. I know what the Astor Cup looks like for the NTT IndyCar Series. It's pretty fantastic. I want to see what the Indy Pro 2000's trophy looks like. Let's go over the schedule a little bit as we wait for Rob to make his way to Victory Circle and talk with Louis Foster. So, Indy Pro 2000, their race is over. Up next, Indy Lights is going to be on track at 1:25 with a practice session that is going to go for 50 minutes, 50 minutes. And our friends from the IndyCar Radio Network will take us through that. Once they get done, then the NTT IndyCar Series is on track for their practice. They will have a 75-minute practice session today. IndyCar Radio Network will be with you guys. Mark Janes and the boys will be calling that action. Cannot wait to see those guys on track. And again, we're going to see what Penske's able to do with Will Power, Joseph Newgarden. We're going to see what Chip Ganassi Racing will do with Scott Dixon. Again, there's so many storylines across the board, Phil, this entire weekend. Like, just pick one way and just start. So it's going to be fantastic. And then tonight, we will get the second race for USF2000 underway at 4 o'clock. And then Indy Pro 2000, their second race will kick off at 5. And then, hey, Arkham Northwest Series, they will be on track practicing tonight from 6 to 7.
Stock cars, baby.
Oh, boy.
It's different sound.
Oh, it is. It's loud. I remember how loud it was when we heard it last year, and then when they were back in June. Hearing protection is available, by the way, at the merchandise tents for the Grand Prix of Portland. They have the over-the-ear kind, the really nice ones, or they have the little foam ones. If you have little kids, make sure you get some hearing protection for them. But if you're anywhere near the track, you might want to just wear some earplugs just because. Save your hearing. You'll thank me tomorrow.
And you checked out the souvenir booths, Bob?
I did. They were actually really nice. They got some really cool stuff. This year there is this awesome red and black flannel shirt for the Grand Prix of Portland. I thought everybody on the staff should get one for tomorrow and wear it and, be like Lumberjack Saturday. So we'll see if that happens. Jenna, our boss, was not necessarily too keen on that idea, but whatever. We'll do it anyways. But we have some awesome tie-dye T-shirts, which looked really, really cool. Those are available. Coffee mugs, shot glasses, magnets, hearing protection like we talked about. They have hats. Great stuff. I mean, they got jackets and vests. Tomorrow's going to be a little bit cooler weather-wise, so maybe go pick up a sweatshirt or a light jacket. Wouldn't hurt to have one. Right. We have one in here, even though we're in an air-conditioned trailer. It's still pretty cold in here, but we are thankful for where we are. It is a fantastic Friday. We've called it Fun Friday because we have 4
Fun Friday.
races.
You hit it right on the nail.
Two more to go, and we got practice sessions from IndyCar, Indy Lights, and Arkham Northwest. Man, that's a lot happening today, at PIR.
That's a lot more action than we had this time last year on a Friday.
That is very true, very true. And we are so excited to be here. We're happy to be here. Thank you for everybody that is out here. Man, I love seeing shots around the track, especially down turns towards 3, 4, 5. Everybody in their motorhomes. So how awesome is that? So fans are out in force already. It's Friday, tomorrow, and Sunday going to be great. Getting ready to throw down to Rob Howden as he's getting ready to kick off the Victory Lane celebration here with Indy Pro 2000 and Louis Foster, your 2022 Indy Pro 2000 champion, presented by Cooper Tires. A drive of a lifetime, right?
Yep.
So far, guy's got a great career. It's only beginning, and a
Great
chance
future.
to go in and grab a championship. How awesome! All right, let's throw it down to Rob Howden in Victory Circle. Rob, take it away.
Bobby, thank you so much indeed. Our first championship of the 2022 season here on the road to Indy, presented by Cooper Tires, as the Indy Pro 2000 pulling there, got the job done, putting what we call an exclamation point on the end of a tremendous season. We'll bring him up here in a little bit. We have some of our guys from Cooper Tires to help us out with award presentations, and Dane Anderson as well. But let's get started with the driver coming home in third place today, folks, for Hookers Hollinger Racing. A round of applause for Anam Ahmed.
In between the brack tests, maybe, between practices.
And to bring Anam his trophy, Gavin Johnson from Cooper Tires, our Cooper Tires tech guys who are trackside with us all the time to make sure that the tires are where they need to be, and of course inspecting all the tires that come off. Gavin, thank you so much, and a great job for Anam. Finishing in second spot here, and will very likely end up as the runner-up in the championship this year. We've had him in this program for a number of years. I expect him to go to Indy Lights next year, but it's also his birthday today, folks. Second place for Reese Gold, the birthday boy for Hookos Hollinger. Rob Farrell from Cooper Tires will bring Reese his trophy. Reese put the pressure on as much as he could throughout that race. It's been a great season for Reese Gold. Of course, a winner in USF2000 and Indy Pro 2000 now, and he's been a tremendous driver here on the road to Indy. The driver scoring the victory here today to get the job done. He wins the championship here, and $614,000 of scholarship to move into Indy Lights. Also the first driver championship for Michael and Kimberly Duncalf from Exclusive Autosport. The winner today, a round of applause for Louis Foster! Louis, they got us right in front of the stage, so don't fall off. Obviously, mid-season, you came on in a big way. You come into this weekend after what was a really good run, I think, at Worldwide Technology Raceway. You got the points you needed, kind of gave you the cushion here, but finishing it off with a race win makes it all the more sweeter.
Yeah, 100%. I went into this weekend kind of knowing that, we just had to bag some points to get the job done, but I didn't really want to end the season that way. I wanted to go out fighting. Yeah, the aim all the last 2 weeks has been to win race one. I'm glad we did that.
Now, can you focus now on the remaining two races, or are you thinking about 2023 and that Indy Lights car already?
Well, there's still 2 races left to go. So, no, 100%. I think I don't know where we start for race 2. I think maybe pole, if not second. So, again, try and win that race, and then same as the last one. So, yeah, the mindset doesn't change. But, yeah, obviously it's great to be champion.
Who do you want to thank here?
Obviously, all the guys at Exclusive and the girls, they've done an amazing job all year. Without them, we wouldn't be here. John has been an amazing engineer. Derek's been amazing on the spanners. Yeah, and then obviously all my sponsors, Copart, Pajazi. Yeah, I just can't thank everyone enough.
Nicely done. Get up on top of the podium. He's a race winner and a champion, folks. What a drive today for Louis Foster. Dan Anderson, the CEO of Anderson Promotions, will bring in the first place trophy, and then we'll ask the drivers to work their way off. Other than Louis, as we have a presentation to come here still with the championship trophy. And again, following in the long line of tremendous drivers who have won here in the Indy Pro 2000 category and will then work their way forward to Indy Lights next year. And we look forward to, of course, our championship celebration on Sunday evening as well. But all three of these drivers are ones that we are looking forward to watching next year in the Indy Lights program. Louis for sure, but we expect to see both Anam and Reese there as well. And that's our job, to develop these young drivers for Indy Lights. And we look forward to seeing them, again, just one step away from the NTT IndyCar Series. Got the champagne spray will come, of course, when we wrap things up, and then we'll cap it off with the championship award presentation as well. I always say that early in the weekend, you're not going to see these drivers spray each other, as they got to wear these suits again. later today. Oh, Reese is going to go right at it. Louis Foster's going at it as well. The champagne going. Louis Foster still on the top of the box as your race winner. Congratulations to Louis Foster, but there's still one more trophy to come. Anam Ahmed has already worked his way, of course, off, and then we'll get Reese there. A little high five. And one more trophy still to come, folks, because this is the big one here. He worked his tail off all year, as is his team as well. He mentioned John Hayes, and, of course, he is mechanic Derek as well to put this car on the racetrack, capable of winning each and every race. Let's get that shot here with the flag here as well, the Brit. Thank you. Celebration for this driver. A couple drivers actually from the British Formula 3 program. Anam Ahmed, a former champion. Of course, Louis as well, a top driver in British Formula 3 as well. But that one trophy still waiting in the wings. Chris Pantani from Cooper Tires. Dane Anderson as well from the Anderson Promotions crew will be here. Present him with that championship trophy. We'll take that back and award it again. We'll have Chris Pantani, Dan Anderson, and Michelle Kish up on the podium there to present this trophy. And here it comes again, folks. This is something that started back in St. Petersburg, this run here for Louis Foster to try to get it done. There's the champion's hat will go on. And again, you think about all the work, the hard work put in by Louis on the racetrack, on the simulator, the team back in Brownsburg, everyone working their tail off in the engineering room at the shop, making sure these cars are ready for each and every race weekend, each and every session. And he went on a tear second half of the season. Folks, he's got the trophy. If you're standing here, please a round of applause. Our first champion of the 2022 Road to Indy season, presented by Cooper Tires, Louis Foster, an exclusive Autosport, winning the title in Indy Pro 2000.